Apparently, Alex Scott is now going to cost £80 million. We've seen MATEUS FERNANDES, West Ham won £80 million. And Manchester United, if we're looking at Tonali, he's going to be apparently £100 million. And Elliot Anderson might even be 110, £120 million. So everything is absolutely ridiculous in terms of how much these players are going to cost. I'm joined by G Wolf, but he's a bit busy at the second. We'll get him on in a minute. But it looks like all these deals are going to be incredibly expensive. So the question I suppose has got is like, should Man United be spending this sort of money on some of these targets? Can Man United get better value elsewhere? Or should Man United just pay the money to get these deals as well? So this is one where, to be honest, like Weghorst, if Weghorst is in the World Cup, £70 million, why not? Why not? If someone's kicked the ball in the Premier League, £50 million, why not? Like, let's throw some crazy prices out there. So this is one where I think there's a lot of crazy stories out there at the moment. I think some of these prices have started getting ridiculous. And Ben Jacobs, when he said that Alex Scott was £80 million, my first reaction was, that is crazy. That Alex Scott is a good player. And I think the valuation of 60, 65 about 2 weeks ago from Bournemouth was pushing it a bit. I think this is absolutely crazy. But anyway, we'll get to your opinion as well. I think he's going to probably think the same sort of thing as well. If you're able to share the stream as well, and don't forget to click a like on the video, we will be like trying to read a lot of the comments as well. And Damascus says, trying to buy outside the Premier League. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Big up to you, Bilal, absolute legend. Thank you for gifting a membership. I appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. And welcome to the membership club for Alex in Tiger Claws. Good to see you in the chat as well. So, as I said, I'm waiting for my guest to turn up. But until then, we're going to go through some of the stories. We're going to start off with Alex Scott and Bournemouth. This is coming from Ben Jacobs. There is interest from Liverpool. And Areola moving to Liverpool, there's a few people thinking that this means that Alex Scott will naturally follow him to Merseyside. And maybe there's a reason why they're starting to put a high price tag on him. It looks like he might be leaving, or he's going to be leaving the club almost certainly. And maybe this is a way of trying to get the best possible price for Bournemouth. So I'm not really surprised we're seeing potentially an increase as well. But I'm looking at thinking, are we going to be seeing suddenly a massive there's no guarantee all these players go for this sort of money. Let me just say that. But it does seem to be at this point in time, maybe we should look outside the Premier League at some other options as well. I think when the price was quite close, I think there's a reason like where you could say maybe stay in the Premier League, but the price is starting to get a little bit crazy as well. I'll just go for a couple of comments before I get G-Wall's take on this. At this rate, Buwadi could be the cheaper option, says Mark. Said Rich would be happy. Buwadi's a top quality player. Don't get me wrong. He's a quality player. But again, I think that the price for him might be going up as well. So we can get G-Wolf's thoughts on this. Big up to you, Andy, as well in the chat. Right, G-Wolf, you've seen the stories regarding the prices as well. And Yari says we're getting one of them for this price. Okay, so what's your initial reaction regarding, like, let's start with Alex Scott. He was presumably going to be one of the cheaper options. Bournemouth are saying they value him at £80 million. Like, what's your thoughts regarding that one to start with?
Oh my god! Everywhere we go, 80 million. Everywhere we go, 80 million is going to get you.
Do you remember when 80 million was like a Galactico price, and now it's like suddenly it's the average price?
Exactly.
What is going on?
But then the only thing is, as I said, it's thanks to Neymar deal is what the inflation, the inflation of of players now. Like literally, that's what it is. So for bang average, so sort of average player, you're paying round about the 60, 70, 80 million. And then if you want top quality players, then you've got to pay over 100 million now.
It's making the Edison deal look like a good deal now. Like
Exactly.
35 million. Actually, Edison's looking like it costs like about £2 in comparison.
Exactly. So, tell you the truth, like, oh, dear me. Tell you the truth, like, you know, they can say 80 million, but then we can say, like, you know, well, we only rate him at 50 or 40 mil. And then, like, we meet in the middle sort of thing. Like, you know, and then that's how transfers works, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
we're not, Alex Scott isn't like top of our list anyway. So Alex Scott is going to be presumably a Liverpool target from what I can see.
yeah.
So is this, for me, what we're looking at now is that there seems to be like Real says that Liverpool offered them 40 million. So when I heard that, there's no way they're going to accept 40 million, and it's going to be potentially with this one like maybe we can blame Liverpool. 120 million of pounds for like Verts. You got 100 million plus for Isak, Chelsea, Caicedo, and Enzo. Thanks, guys. You spent way too much money on some of these players. Like they're good players, but way too much money for these players in the past. And Real Madrid have bid 150 million for Alvarez, which has been rejected. So bloody
Yeah,
hell, they're
that has
taking.
150. By the way, that's not 150 pounds. By the way, that's 150 euros, which is works out at 130 million in pounds. So, and that did get rejected. And Real Madrid are gonna pay round about the 180 million, 180 million euros if they want Alvarez.
But it's inflation in the market. Like, what's your stance for Man United then? Like, if we don't go for some of these players, are they just going to get more expensive? Like, do
Um,
we have to make an offer where we have to get one of these players signed up? Are these players going to be getting more expensive as the window progresses? Is probably the like if Van Heck has been rejected at 70 million, that is to be honest, that is outrageous as well.
Well, dealing with Brighton is always trouble anyway because of whatever player they get. They always want about 100 million for that player because of how well that they do in the Premier League. So, tell you the truth, dealing with Brighton and also Paul Bloom uh, is
To
an
be fair, yeah,
absolute.
we spent 80 million on a centre back, so yeah, we have to say that as well.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
5 years ago we did on Harry Maguire. Was he worth it? No, but the only thing is for, as I said, for a box standard player, you're going to pay over the odds.
So, what do you
Now,
think is the best thing to do? Like, this is a general question as well to everybody.
surely
What do you
that
think?
we got
Like,
to meet in the middle. Simple as, like, literally, like, they value, obviously, let's say Alex Scott, Bournemouth want 80 million. We value him at 50 million, but we come to a consensus in the middle, plus add ons. Bournemouth are happy. Man United are happy because we got a little bit off on the deal, and literally everything is rosy. That's how transfers works. People are not gonna just say, "Oh yeah, give in," and just say, "Yeah, we give you what you want."
yeah, I know. So, looking at this, then, do you think this is starting to make you like look at what target you would go for? So, at the moment, we're assuming that Elliot Anderson. I don't think Nottingham Forest has said too much apart from maybe 100, 110. It's like people thinking it's going to cost that sort of amount, maybe. Matheus Fernandes we got here is like about 80 million apparently, but again, I think that could come down slightly. Then do you think that this is a question then, do you think these prices are unrealistic, or do you think we're seeing inflation and an overinflated market where suddenly the prices are going to be going
It
higher and higher? Like,
is it is an overinflated market at the moment. Like literally, championship player for 80 million. Really? Come on. No championship player should be worth 80 million. Like, they need, I know, this is where I think, like either the Premier League or UEFA need to get involved in these transfers because I'll tell you what, yeah, right, that with the overinflated market, it's just going to get ridiculous, and so there needs to be a cap on these players now. There needs to be a cap because I'll tell you the truth, overpaying for a player is getting absolutely ridiculous. Like 150 for Isaac, 135 to Wirtz. There needs to be a cap on players now.
you look at it thinking like Vril says, like raid academies, go for younger players. And if you're looking at spending like if a player's going to cost 80 million pounds based on having one or two good seasons in the Premier League, is this the stage where Man United should look at like you need to invest in the future pretty significantly? You might have to spend big on a player this transfer window. If you're going to go, if Matheus Fernandes is 80, then Tonali might be like they say 100, but what if they want more? And this is probably going to be if you look at 80 million pounds for Matheus Fernandes, then I think Nottingham Forest, with their valuation of 120 on Anderson, as crazy as it sounds, it might be somewhere. Maybe the market is going to be ridiculous, so
It
it could be
is.
ridiculous.
It is. It is absolutely ridiculous. And literally, like this is what I said to your stream. You said to me about Mateus Fernandes, yeah, right. That
Yeah.
when a player gets relegated, right, it doesn't devalue that. It doesn't devalue the player. You said this is what we was talking about off screen, correct?
Yeah. Now, if a player gets relegated and there's a relegation clause, the player will go cheaper. But
Yeah, but
like,
because of he's
yeah,
relegated. Should he West Ham, right? Literally, the player is not worth 80 million.
I don't think he's worth 80 million.
He is way below that. Look, he's been relegated twice, right? Yeah,
Big up Rush
he
in the
might be
chat.
good, but the only thing is he must not be that good if he playing in a team that got relegated twice.
I know, I know, I
Just
know.
to just to just to let
Off.
it just to give it
I
out
know,
there, by the way.
but Roy Keane got relegated, so I think regarding that one, like, it doesn't matter who he plays for.
But
Like,
the only thing is, that was how many years ago, though, Rich? Come on.
it's the same thing.
It's
It's the
not the
same.
same
It's the same
thing.
thing. You're,
Different. It's different, mate.
where,
I'm
where did where
telling
did
you.
Man United buy Dennis Irwin from? Like, I think you need to forget where the players play for a lot of the time.
I tell you the truth. Times have changed since then. Literally, they were ballers back in the day for
Yeah, I
their
know.
clubs.
What I'm saying is that the valuation of players
Now,
not going to depend on where they are. Is
now
it?
you can see. Yeah, but the only thing is, you can see by Mateus Fernandes. How many times did Roy Keane get relegated before we bought him?
Yeah, Matheus Fernandes is 21. So
How old was Roy Keane?
Yardi says if it's a seller's market, if West Ham want 80, that's what they most likely will get, according to Yardi. So there are way too many clubs who want Fernandes. So I know you don't really rate Fernandes, but you have to look at you of who wants to buy Matheus Fernandes.
Who wants to buy a relegated player?
Yeah, who wants to buy Matheus Fernandes? Do you know the list?
Well, I've heard you. I think you told me off screen as well that Paris Saint-Germain, Real Madrid, Bayern probably, Man United.
So
But
the
the
team,
only
the
thing
teams,
is, doesn't
yeah,
matter at the end of the day, yeah, right? That no player, right? This is what, and also I did say to Rich, yeah, right? I said to
yeah.
you that you should put a poll in there, yeah, right? That if a player gets relegated, does it devalue their value as a player? I said yes. Rich thinks not.
How much do you think Matheus Fernandes sells for if West Ham don't get relegated?
If he didn't get relegated, I would have said around about the 60, 70 million mark if he didn't get relegated.
How much
But
do you think he'll
because he's
sell for now?
relegated, I wouldn't pay anywhere over 40 to 45 million for him. Really wouldn't.
I'll say this though, like 40, 45 million is a crazy valuation for Matheus Fernandes. Like 40 million.
For it devalues. As I said, he's a
Okay.
championship player. He's
Well,
been
what I'll do,
championship player
I'll put a
twice.
poll in the chat then. I'll put a poll in the chat to say how much you'd pay for Matheus Fernandes, and we'll look at that later.
I'm
Um,
saying it
yeah.
devalues. It
Yardi
devalues
says,
him.
so let me read through the comments. Yardi says it doesn't matter if he's playing in the championship or not. If the player's good enough, he's going to go for a lot of money. Maybe it depends who the options are. Like, if you don't want to
That's
pay that much money,
balls.
who do you go for, G Wolf? Like, if you think that
As I
that's
say,
too expensive,
I'll pay an extra 20 million on top of that 80 and go and get a Premiership player or another player from another country. I'm not paying 80 million for a Championship player. Surely
yeah,
we've gone past that now.
I think you're getting a bit obsessed with like West Ham getting relegated. So just think of the player.
The only thing is, of course, he's part of a team of relegated players. Literally, he's a championship player. Literally, we should be going nowhere near him. I don't care how old he is. He's been relegated twice, and he ain't worth 80 million. This is where we should say, look,
Yeah, I'm not saying it's worth 80 million,
let's walk away from that deal and go for
would you
someone
rather
else.
Tonali at 100 than Matheus Fernandes at 80? Like if
I
that
would,
was the
I
price.
would, exactly, I would definitely. I would rather pay 100 for Tonali than literally go and pay 80 for Fernandez. I'm not buying a championship player for 80 million. At
To
least,
go,
and also at
yeah.
least with Tonali, he's got Champions League experience. Right, he's a good ball carrier. He's great at interceptions. Literally, for an extra 20 million, go and get Tonali rather than going to buy a championship player. It's a no-brainer.
Okay. Do you think Tonali's a better deal than Matheus Fernandes then? Like you're
Yeah,
saying that.
I would say that he's a better deal than Mateus Fernandes.
Okay. How much
Just
do
a
you reckon?
just a simple reason is yeah, right? That yeah, he's a championship player. Simple reason.
Yeah, West Ham paid 40 million for him a year ago. That's regarding this one as well. So that's kind of how much they
Doesn't
paid. I think they
matter
want to
how
get.
much. Doesn't matter how much West Ham paid. At the end of the day, he's went into the championship twice, and West Ham still think that he's an 80 million pound player. No one in literally no top club is going to pay 80 million for this guy. I'm telling you that now. They are going to get the deal as cheap as possible. And if that
Um,
means, yeah, right, that it'll be 50 million plus 10 to get near that, that's what they would do. They will literally, West Ham has said 80. We've said, look, we value him at 45. We meet in the middle. We say, right, we'll pay this amount up front and then the rest in add ons.
Niche fan says this is 4D chess. Anderson has always been our top target. Joel Glazer wants him. What do you think about this story regarding like Manchester United, Eddie Anderson? Do you think there's any truth that Man United are waiting for Man City to agree a price with Nottingham Forest and then try and hijack the deal, try and offer him a better contract? This is coming out from a few different sources. I was actually looking at some of I think it was like some Nottingham Forest news outlets earlier today, and they were saying they think that that might be the case. That it might be that Jim Radcliffe's going to personally be pushing this deal, and whatever Forest offer, say whatever Anderson gets offered by Man City, Man United will be there to try and match it or better it. So, do you think there's going to be potentially like Nish fan saying that he thinks that a lot of these targets are not a genuine target, and we're just going to be holding out for again, quite risky to gamble on trying to get Elliot Anderson is going to cost a lot. So, do you think there's any
Well
truth
worth
or
the
any
money.
likelihood in this?
I hope there is. I really hope there is. We owe them one. We owe City one for the Tevez deal. So I really hope this is true. What is coming out? I absolutely love Anderson. It'll be a dream come true if he comes. Top player. I think he's world class at the moment, and as I said yesterday, I think he could become like on the same level as Zidane in the future. By the way, peoples, I saw the comments yesterday, but I'm saying in the future, Anderson could, if he keeps on with this trajectory, obviously.
Yeah, that's yeah, a big prediction. I think it's difficult to
Can
say.
you not see it?
Close.
Can you not see it? Like literally, he's work. Don't you think? Right, he's a brilliant player now
It's
with the
good.
right
Yeah.
with the right coaches, with the right club, and Man United are known for this all the time. We did it with Ronaldo. We did it with Solskjaer. We did it with Roy Keane. We did it with Irwin. We did it with Peter Schmeichel. So tell you the truth, getting a player like Anderson the way that he is now, and then say 10 years, 15 years down the line.
I don't see Zidane potential in Anderson. I think Anderson's a
I
very
do.
good player. I think you're talking about one of the greatest.
And I think that you're going to see Anderson as one of the
I
greatest
don't know.
as well.
Do you remember like with Zidane? Roy Keane's best game, or like the game people talk about Roy Keane, was when we beat Juve in Turin in 1999. And the reason why was because Zidane was like a world-class player for so long. I don't think it's I no I don't think we can start saying he's a world-class player. He's not even played in the World Cup, or he's not even played
Yeah,
that
but
sort of level for
the
this
only
amount of
thing is,
time.
I think
So
he's world class. For what I've
I
seen
don't think
so
he's
far,
world-class
I
yet.
think he's world. For what I've seen, he's world class. His passing is absolutely immense. Like I saw him in the when I saw him in the friendly, he was
It's good.
really. He's a
World-class, I
really,
don't know.
really great player, and I've got really high hopes for him. As I said,
Yeah, no, Malps agrees with you. I think that compared with Zidane, though, I think it's just early. Like, who
no,
do you
it
think's got
is
the most?
early. It is early now to compare him to Zidane, but I said he could be in the future. That's the thing. That's the key. He could be in the future. You
Yeah,
just gotta
who's
wait.
got
You just
the?
gotta
I,
look
I get
out
the
for it.
feeling with like him as well. I do agree with Jay. I think with this one as well, Anderson, if he has a good World Cup, maybe the price can go up. If it can go up much higher than it already is, then who's got the highest ceiling? Do you think? Matheus Fernandes, Alex Scott, Kobe Mainu, Ellie Anderson. We're talking about younger players here. That again, it's very difficult
Elliot
to compare.
Anderson has got the highest ceiling at the moment. 100% Elliot Anderson's got the highest ceiling. As I said, him, Kobe, Edison. Oh, what a midfield that we're gonna have for Nick if we can get Elliot Anderson in.
Niche is saying that he's going to be England's most complete player in history. That's a big prediction. In that instance, then, how much would you be talking about regarding like how much would you pay up to if you think he's going to be that good, build around him for a decade? I think he's obviously like a good player. I think what do you think regarding how like 100 million, 120? Like, would you go more? Like, what would you
What
go for?
for Elliot Anderson?
Yeah, if he's your top target, what's the top
120,
price to go for?
120, literally. He's 120. I think I would like him for a little bit less than 100 million. I would say around the high 90s he's actually worth. But the only thing is that if we want everything, then I think the whole lot will cost 120 million.
What do you think he wants contract wise? Because that's where people are also saying like,
Um,
okay, how much would he get? Like,
I think he wants roughly the same amount that he's on. Obviously, with a bit more incentives in in his contract, and I think I think he'll be happy with that. Like I think he's what I think the last time I saw he's on about 200 and something, isn't he? Or is he on 100 and something? I think 220 will get him there.
okay, because I've seen people talking like 250, 300.
Yeah,
I think like
I saw that, but
like
that's
if
what
you're looking at the
the only
price,
thing is.
then
It depends also what Man City are willing to pay for him, pay
yeah,
him
I
in
think Man City
for
have
his
made an
contract.
offer of about, from what I've seen, is that Man United, no, Man City is supposed to have made an offer of like 80-ish or something, 85, and they might go up to 100, 105, something like that. So we're kind of like guessing a little bit in terms of how much Man City would pay. Obviously, I think 120 gets the deal done as well. So I go for United Devil Channel says, big up to you, JB says, Man United don't develop players. It says, the fact you talk about players from 20 years ago, it says, who have we developed in the last 13 years? And says that Zidane comparisons. Again, I've seen two people say it's ridiculous. I've seen a couple of people that do agree with you overall. I think it's just really early. When people start talking about Kobe Mainu and comparing him to Seedorf, I think it's so early. It's so early to compare
It is
players with
very early.
that.
It's a very early stage. I'm not saying. I'm just saying if Anderson has the right sort of coaches around him, the right sort of team, I think you would see the Anderson will become a world class player. Whether it's in his own right or if people might say that he's similar to Zidane. Because of what you can see at the moment. You can see glimpses, there's glimpses of like in some games. I've seen glimpses of Anderson, and I just think he is a bit like a early Zidane. Very early Zidane, back in the day. Before
Yes.
Zidane became world
I think
class. And
Zidane was like
that's
a
what I
physical
can
beast,
see
wasn't he? Like,
similarities.
yeah, I'm just saying it. I'm just saying it's early days.
It
So
is. It's early days, but you can see glimpses of it already, and like you just think, do you know what? The sky's the limit for Anderson at the moment.
So looking at this, Yari says he's going to get an offer of like 300k a week at City. Are you happy if you're looking at are you happy with that sort of price? Like if you look at this, that's going to be obviously like pretty high for Man United, like recently won. Um, Jules is saying that he thinks the market value for Anderson next season would be like 175k a week. If City are offering more than that, then obviously like Man United would have to match that to have any chance at all. So if it's 300k a week, then you're saying like go for it. 300k a week is what it takes. You pay 300k a week.
Exactly. If it literally, he is an absolute beast of a player.
What do you think potential with when I was talking to Philip from Toon Tactics TV, he was saying that he sees a lot of similarities between Matheus Fernandes and Bruno Guimaraes at Newcastle, and he's the sort of player he'd want if Bruno G left Newcastle.
Oh
So
dear.
he's been doing a bit of scouting as well, and he was saying that Alex Scott is like someone that he sees as the metronome of Bournemouth as well. So he quite likes those players. I'm just saying that his comparison is the way Bruno drives on Newcastle. He thinks Matheus Fernandes will be that sort of player when he obviously develop. It's obviously development, but can you see any similar? Like, where do you see these players? Like, because for me, obviously, we're paying for potential. If you pay for these players, the idea is going to be you get a 21-year-old for 50, 60, 70, possibly instead of paying 100 for a player that's 2 years older.
The only thing is, yeah, right, that Mateus Fernandes at the moment I see as a Ganacho type of player. I just see him.
Nacho.
Yeah. Yeah, I just
I
see
don't. Okay, I think
literally.
that can. I don't see how. Okay, I don't see how you can compare
How
Fernandez
can
with
you not?
Nacho.
Come on, they've both been poor, right? Literally, one of them has been relegated twice, and the other one is just shite. Oh dear me! But the only thing is, as you said, with the right sort of club around Mateus Fernandes, like anything can happen. He's still young. He's still learning his football.
So the OG treble winner in the chat says this is kind of his prices in terms of what he thinks is fair prices. He says that 70 million pounds for Belieber. Obviously, maybe like that's 20, 25 prices possibly. 80 million pounds for Alex Scott and Matheus Fernandes, 90 million for Tonali, 100 million for Anderson. He says they're all fair prices. I think most of us would probably agree with that that's the right order. Like you probably have Beliebers the cheapest, then Scott and Fernandez, then Tonali would be a bit more. Anderson's going to be the most expensive. I think we all agree that. So do you think that maybe the market's just gone up? Do you like the market's just got
It's
it's
just
just
been
moved?
inflation. So, tell you the truth, like literally, the inflation of players now is just absolutely absurd.
A
And
few comments on that. Yeah, Zidane
yeah,
did
I'm
get it.
seeing them
Did get it.
now.
Zidane's a physical player. I'll give you that. Like, also, I think people talk
Dear.
about the skill for Zidane. Zidane was physically very strong, actually, really physically strong. I remember watching Zidane. I'm thinking like he had the technique, but he was not a soft player either. Zidane was like a beast. So I think for me, you're talking about uh,
But then
it,
also Anderson, he's no slouch. He's no pushover either.
no,
So
no,
that's
I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying it's early days with him. I like it as well. Um, United Devil Channel JB says, "Are we willing to commit 180 to 200 million over 5 years?" He said he does like your confidence and like this again. You have to go for it, don't you? With Elliot Anderson, I think Elliot Anderson is low risk, isn't he? Like low risk. He's played
I
in the
think it's
Premier
low
League for a
risk
couple of
because
years.
it's high gain.
Yeah, yeah.
Low risk,
Said that.
low
I've
risk,
said
high
that.
gain, but it does cost 120 million to get him.
Yeah, I've said a few times that Elliot Anderson would be my top target. I've said I would pay a lot for him. I think I was expecting that the salary would be lower, but I guess if you're paying big transfer fees, the salary is going to be high as well. He's in demand.
Exactly. Like,
It's
as I
not
say,
ideal.
round about the 200, 230 mark is a good price for a player like Anderson at this moment in time.
I don't think anyone's calling Zidane overrated, are they? I don't think Zidane's overrated. I mean, he's
No,
literally
no,
won the
no. I
World
think
Cup in
he's saying what he's
1998.
overrated. I think he's saying that Zidane is overrated. What's he achieved? He's a World Cup winner. He headbutts players for people calling their mother a whore. Literally,
This
that's
is
why
probably a
he
good question
headbutted him.
then. Like Jim says, like you would give 45 million for Fernandez. They say only 45 for Fernandez, but 120 for Anderson. He says this is a bit crazy. Like there's no way that Anderson is worth 75 more than Fernandez. I would say, yeah. So normally you agree with Giwa's takes, but that was a strange one. And which one was that? If it was a Ganacho comparison to Matheus Fernandes, I'm sorry you had to hear that.
No, he's saying about I said about Ganacho and Mateus Fernandes. I'm saying that Mateus Fernandes is a Ganacho. When I said that,
Yeah.
people
Do you know what I would say? If we're talking impartially here, I think Man United, looking at these deals, looking at these players, I think Alex Scott, Matheus Fernandes,
sorry, guys. I shouldn't have
and
said that.
Anderson.
Sorry, sorry.
uh,
By the way, hold on, Rich. I just wanted to apologise that for my last comment about the Zidane comment. Sorry about that, guys. I shouldn't have said that. Yeah, we need to keep it PG. And sorry.
so broken verdict, big up to you, Mo. He says Fernandes is literally more complete than Mainu in his view, saying better defensively, better long ball passer. I think with Mainu actually, one of the things that's a strength of of Matheus Fernandes' game is long ball passing, and it's something like that's the one thing that Manu doesn't really have. So I can see why that might actually be quite a good complementary partner as well. But I think one of the things here is my personal view is that Matheus Fernandes, Anderson, Alex Scott are all good players. I think Anderson's the better one at the moment, but we're talking about 21-year-olds, aren't we? 22, 23-year-olds. So Matheus
Exactly.
Fernandes could be a complete monster at 25. Like and we could see, some of these players could just level off. Some of these players could go like really, really far in their careers. And I think United need to get one of these players. I know we talk about Angela Stiller or we talk about Tonali. I think United need to get one of these players that's a bit younger that is potentially going to build. They're going to build around for longer. So Tonali's great, but I think we need to get a younger player if possible. So right, no more like crazy talks about players better than Zidane. Zidane was a quality player as well. Big up to you, Tyrone. Good to see you in the chat. Agate is not better than, to be honest, that there's a lot of if I had to list the players better than Agate as options, we'd be here for like ever as well. No. What do you think is the most likely one of these deals for United to do then? If we got Matheus Fernandes, because at the moment we're kind of out in the pole position, aren't we, with this one? It's just about Man United putting off with that West Ham agree with.
Exactly. But the only thing is, like, if West Ham are going to dig their heels in and want 80 million, that's when we should just say, look, we move on to other targets. Surely, like, that there's better players out there. Like, Angela,
I
like,
left this call
I've
up there
heard a
just to
load of
say that
I've heard a load of people say about Angela Stiller. I've heard people say about Bobaldi. I've heard people say about, like, literally other players that might be good value at 80 million.
yeah, I agree. I agree.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, that if West Ham are going to dig their heels in and say, oh yeah, no, you got to pay the 80 million for Mateus Fernandez, then say the truth. It's time for us to say, well, look, okay, look, thank you, but no thank you. See you later. Until you lower the price, we're not going in for him.
I know. Do you see the deal with like Fernandez just taking ages? Because at the moment, his agent is trying to like pretend or hype up Real Madrid interest. And at the moment, I think Real Madrid are looking at buying Alvarez, aren't they? They're going to spend a fortune on him. And I think they're looking at those sort of players. So,
Yeah, but would they, yeah, okay, they want a top target in Alvarez, but would they see Mateus Fernandez as a low risk? Because if they got the money, if they got a lot of money to spend, then 80 million will be chump change for them,
yeah,
wouldn't
maybe.
it?
Maybe it's
Really,
one of that.
you know what
But
I mean? They can afford the 80 million and to say, look, okay, we'll pay the full 80 million. That's what you want. That's what we pay. Because some teams will do that. Some teams will pay the whole lot.
yeah.
But
Andy says that, but
sometimes you
Fernandez has
got to
told
be a
West
bit
Ham,
smarter.
Fernandez has told West Ham he wants Man United. Then doesn't that give us like all the power, like all the power in terms of
It
like,
should give us an edge, at least. It should give us an edge. Not all the power, but an edge to get that deal done. If he has said that. But then also, Man United might say, well, look, hand in a transfer request. And then that's down to the team whether they accept. That's down to West Ham whether they accept it. If they don't accept it, do they really want an unhappy player on their hands? Most teams don't, and they might just say, look, okay, you've handed in a transfer request. Right, now Man United will have all the power, and then we can say, well, look, we rate him at 55 million at most. We'll pay you 45 million up front, 10 million in 10 million in add-ons. That will get the deal done.
so what do you think's the next move then? Like if you're Man United, what do you do? You're waiting on the you're
Um,
waiting on the situation at Anderson. You make an offer for Matheus Fernandes, like
I'll wait. I'll wait to see what happens. I won't literally at the moment West Ham are digging their heels in and saying they want the full 80. Well, then we can just make them wait until
yeah,
because of
I think with this one,
they got to get rid of they got to get rid of quite a lot of
yeah,
players
the thing
because they
with
need
West Ham
to
is
try and
like
recoup 100 million.
West Ham need 100 million at least, don't they? 100 million or potentially more. And they're going to want to get this money. And if you're looking at the other players, Bowen, I've heard talked about, but I don't think it's going to be big money for Bowen. You're looking at Juve, could be like some. I mean, West Ham would want to get the maximum amount of money from
From
Matheus
all the
Fernandes.
players.
I think their agent's just going to make it take a long time. So I
Exactly.
still think, like Andy says, he thinks 65 plus 10 gets him. I still think if Man United offer like 60 plus some add-ons, that probably gets the deal done. So I think if we, I mean, what we might be seeing now is we might be seeing a transfer market where the deals that get done in a couple of months' time might be start being ridiculous. You know, like the Isak and the Verts deal. There could be some really stupid deals being done. So Andy thinks 65 plus 10 gets him. I think I mean that's a lot of money actually. That's still a lot. Um, I don't think we can give him a Garte. I'll say that.
I don't think Ugarte will want to go into the championship. Oh dear.
I think that also like, when people are comparing the prices like too many, so I think too many would probably cost more than like some of the prices coming out now. If too many was on the market, I think too many would be the most expensive player because like again, like United I said, if you look at the too many price that was put at 70 million pounds, that was probably what a month ago. Then I think that would be even more now. So too many would be if
I
too many
think
was on the
Chouameni
market,
will be
it would
around
be.
about the 100 million as well.
I'd have thought so. I mean, the prices I'm seeing today, when I saw the story, and this is like Ben Jacobs, so at least it's like someone that's going to be reporting credible information. When I saw this, this is the one that I was thinking, what the hell is going on? Like, do you remember the Alex Scott price about a month ago? And
Yeah.
the Alex Scott price was supposed to be, I don't know, Man United said they valued him at 50, and I saw something like they wanted what was it? I think Bournemouth wanted 65 or something. But these numbers seem ridiculous, don't they? It's like someone's
They
just
do.
like they smashing a keypad and just going right 100 million. That'll be fine.
But the only thing is, they've had a really good season. Bournemouth had they've had an okay season. They were they were brilliant more last year with Semeinu, obviously with that Alex Scott, Semeinu, and their striker. So, to tell you the truth, like, you know, and they've done well again this season. But to value them at over, like, you know, we was talking about Semeinu, we was thinking about buying him and paying 75 million to Bournemouth for him. There was no way Man United were ever going to pay a 75 million. But if you could see it now, it could have been really good business to go and buy him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm starting to think that Man United should have done something in January, like I said at the time. Like, do something in January because the prices are getting absolutely insane. Just say big up to Mick Ruby in the chat as well. Hope you're doing well, Mick. And no, I was just thinking, like, I've seen a few posts you've been putting as well in terms of like price and what you think players are going to go for. Like, how much do you think these players are going to go for? If you're watching, like, what do you think is going to be a sensible price? I think most people look at it and think that, there's no incentive for West Ham to do these deals quickly. They just need to do the best possible price. There's no incentive for Elliot Anderson to move quickly either. The only people that want to do business quick is going to be someone like Man United want to do deals quickly, don't we? We want to get these deals done. And if anything, that some of the deals we're looking at are players not at the World Cup, so we could be doing these one as well. And then this is another one, Adam Wharton. Then again, I don't know exactly the sources today, but he was rumored to be available for 60, 65 because he had some agreement. I don't know if that's true, but now he's supposed to be 100 million. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? Like,
As I say, the
do you know what though, G-Wolf? Like, honestly, like a year ago on YouTube, if I put 100 million pounds on a thumbnail, I'd be thinking this is ridiculous as I'm typing it, and now I'm starting to think, bloody hell! It's like everybody's like, I could just put 100 million and use
But what
about
did
five
what have I
photos.
been telling you? What have I been telling you though for over 2 years? What have I got? Literally, you should be listening to me.
You
I
said that,
said
yeah.
to
You said
you,
Embuemo was rubbish though, G-Wolf. So I
yeah,
don't
but
listen
the
to
only
everything.
thing is, I said to you back then, that it is going to inflate and it's going to be bang average players for round about the 60, 80 million mark back then 2 years ago. And look, it's happening again. It's happening. It's happened.
Okay,
These
so
players now,
who'd you buy
bang
then,
average players, are
G-Wolf?
80
Who
million.
who'd you buy then? Who do you buy this one? Like, so niche fans saying 100 million is like the norm. Okay, 100 million is the norm. Who do you buy? Like, who is it still going to be Anderson, like 125 if he's the
Oh,
price?
definitely. I will pay that little bit extra of a top quality player than going out and buying a bang average player for 80 million. Like, literally. Which one would you want? Would you want a bang average player, or do you want a top class player that knows how, like, literally can know that is going to do well in our squad? Do you want a guarantee, or do you want a possible? Literally, possibly a bang average player might work
Okay,
well in our team.
pick two midfielders to sign. I would say, like with Mick's comment as well, maybe there's a reason for like some of the crazy prices. We know that the rules are changing regarding finance as that club. Like PSR is going to be gone, and it's going to be club to player ratio effect. So it's going to be like how much your turnover is, how much you spend on transfers, etc. So for some clubs, they're going to be able to spend pretty big to form in the new rules, and a few clubs will be looking at that as well. Who do you based on those crazy prices we've been talking about, Wolf? You can sign two more midfielders. Who do you go for?
Well, Anderson is definitely one.
Yeah, I know that from what you've said.
Anderson is definitely one. And I'll tell you what. Oh, dear me.
I was quite interested in Alex Scott at 50 million pounds, but I'm not so
Yeah.
interested at 80 million. I would say
I'm not
that.
interested in 80 million. As I say, Anderson, and I would have to say Tonali.
So you go for
Literally.
Tonali.
I'll go
So
for Tonali.
I think I would go for
200 million, like, you literally
hmm,
230 million for them two, plus Edison, literally sorts out on midfield.
Evening, Daz. Good to see you in the chat. So I'm going to stay with this one. Like Nish fan says he'd go for Anderson and Tonali. This is one where okay, I'm gonna agree with a lot of people and say Anderson has been my top target for 18 months, so I'm not going to change now. Hayden Hackney, I do quite like actually. If we're
I
getting a
do
cheeky
like him.
fourth one in, Hayden Hackney feels like he's a thing is though, gee, we'll probably be seeing tomorrow. Hayden Hackney will be 60 million pounds.
We probably would be. That's the thing.
Hayden Hackney
Yeah,
was 30 million pounds in January. I'm pretty sure that was the price that Spurs were given, and we could have bought him in January and flipped him for 50 probably in today's
yeah.
market. So like stupid Glazers, we could have made 20 million pounds just by signing a player. And no, I would say for me, I'm kind of leaning towards Matheus Fernandes and Anderson because then what you've got
Oh,
is, and the reason I look at this is you got someone that's a bit older in terms of Edison. So you got your player that's like 25, 26, Edison. He's got the experience in European football. Then you've got someone like Elliot Anderson who's doing it all in the Premier League this season. Like I said, no one wins the ball back more than Elliot Anderson. And he, for me, is again, I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying he's a top player. And then I would go for Matheus Fernandes because I think he's one where I see something special in Matheus Fernandes. I know you disagree, but I think we've already got three midfielders at the club. We've got Kobe Mainu, who we know how good he is. We've already got Anderson. We've already got Edison wrapped up. We're talking about how much like we both rate Anderson. We both rate Anderson, and you'd go for Tonali. I'd go for Fernandez just like a judgment call on me. Again, we have to disagree on
so
opinions, but
you want to pay 80 million for
no, I'm
Fernandez?
not saying that. I'm just saying that I don't want to pay 100 million for Tonali either.
Yeah, I don't. As I say, I don't rate these players. Like this is the thing. I don't rate these players, but at I don't. I do as much as I love Anderson. Is he worth
Yeah,
120 million?
yeah. So what I'll do
100%
is
not.
Wolf, I've got a poll in the chat. Say how much would you pay for Anderson, etc.
I think
And I'll what?
120 is gonna be it's gonna be
Yeah.
high. It's gonna be over 100 because of obviously Nottingham Forest. They said they want a British record for Anderson. So tell you the truth, it's gonna be in the high hundreds for Elliot Anderson. It's gonna be a British record. I'm telling you.
Okay. So do you think Tonali's going to be 100 million, isn't he? Like we think that.
Yeah, he's gonna be round about there. But you never know. It might be like say 90 plus 10. It could say, right, we pay 90 up front, 10 million in add ons, and then.
So the thing with this as well is if you're looking at how much Fernandez costs, how much Tonali costs, then the price is like obviously you're looking at this one. I'll just go for some of the comments. I put a poll in the chat. You can vote on it, G Wolf, and we can discuss it as well.
Yeah, I
So
already have.
so Arsenal paid 100. Yeah, was it 100 or 110 for Rice? But Chelsea for Caicedo was about 116. Okay, these are the two options potentially, and we're kind of guessing the price, but this is kind of what we're seeing in terms of like how much it's going to cost. And say Tonali will be exactly 100 million. We don't know exactly to be honest, but Tonali 100 million, and we got Fernandez at 80 million pounds, just for example. Okay,
Well,
and
it's
then people
because of
people
what
can vote
West
on
Ham
which they
want, in
want.
it.
Yeah, yeah. This is kind of like going by the club's valuations. I think potentially you got as much chance as getting 10 million pounds off Tonali as you have got 10 million pounds off Fernandez. Probably, I'd have thought.
I just think, yeah, right, that
But my
we've
question is going to be like for you, when you look at the transfer fee, there's 20 million pounds difference. Okay,
exactly.
okay, but hear me out. How much salary do you think you're going to have to give Tonali at age 26 years old? He's been captain of Milan in Italy,
I
played
don't
for
think
international football.
captaincy doesn't really
How much are you going to have to
matter
pay
on the
Tonali? Do you
value
think?
of his doesn't really matter of the value of how
Yeah,
much
how
we're
much
gonna
do you
pay
think you're
him
going to
per
have to give
week.
Tonali as a contract?
I think he will accept anywhere between 200 to 230, 240 maybe.
Okay, so like about 200, 220, 240, etc. So I don't know what the figure is. I mean, this is an estimation for people. How much do you
It
think?
might even be it might even be able to come for lower for 175. Depends on how much he is on that where at Newcastle at the moment.
I think he's going to be. I'd imagine that if you got Gallagher at Spurs on 200k, he's got to be more than that. Like it's going to be quite. I think he's going to be on a big salary. My question is going to be, okay, how much salary can you put Matheus Fernandes on if he joins the 21-year-old? Then is this your like, how much would you put him on?
How much is he on at the moment? That's the thing.
Is it 100k or something like that? So
Huh?
Tonali, I think is going to like with Champions League bonus as well. It might be close to 250. I would not be surprised, the Bastos, to be honest. Like something like that, 200, 250, I think is what most people are guessing. He's in his prime. This is the one big contract for Tonali, so
He is
he
in
would
his
get about
prime.
that.
As I said, it'll be on the round about the 200, 230 mark, depending on how much he's earning at the moment at
Yeah, I think most people think it'd be about 230, 250, etc. How much do you reckon Matheus Fernandes salary wise he would be on? Because I would say maybe look at Menu as a guideline for that one, and that could be what 135 plus Champions League bonuses. Like, what's people's estimation of the contract that Matheus Fernandes would be on? So he's on 60k apparently,
So
according to
Fernandez is on
Yali.
60k. So then I would say 100, 120. A bit like the, as you said, a bit like the menu. Be the same around the price, wouldn't it?
So if you're looking at that, then so what's that going to be? I mean, we're kind of guessing this a bit. So if you put him on 120, for example, you're looking at what 120 less than Tonali. So what, like £7 million a year cheaper or something like that? Like maybe.
Yeah, but the only thing is, who's the better player at Fernandez and Tonali? You got to see what gives
So
you the
the
better
difference,
deal.
I
What
want
gives
to
you
say
the
is like
better
over a
deal?
5-year contract that it's not 20 million though, is it? It might be like more like 40 to 50 million, etc. Um, so Dan says he doesn't believe we're in for Tonali. Then I don't know. The question is going to be like, is it worth paying the extra for Tonali? Like, is he good enough to? Does he like? Do you look at Tonali as a must-sign player?
That's the thing. Like, what do people
I
think?
I like Tonali, but I don't get the same. If you said to me, right, would I get Tonali or pay a bit extra for Elliot Anderson? I would be happy to pay the extra to get Elliot Anderson. I think he's worth it. I'm not sure about Tonali. That's all I can say. I think Tonali, there's no doubt that he's a good player. There's no doubt in that. But I just think it's like it's the wrong time to buy him because he's going to be like expensive and but also in 5 years' time, Tonali's 30 and you have to buy a new player. In like Matheus Fernandez in 5 years' time, he's 26. So you've got him for like another 5 years. So that's why I'm slight that's why I would choose him over Tonali. I know you'd go for Tonali. It's fine. There's no wrong answer, is there? Because they could both be excellent players.
Exactly. 100%. Lewis Hall is a must sign. We should sign. We should. As I say, if you gave me the choice out Tonali and Lewis Hall, I would take Lewis Hall every time. Simple reason is I just
Yeah,
literally
I like
he's a
Lewis Hall.
brilliant left back.
He's going to be expensive, isn't he? Like it's
He
going to
will be
be quite.
expensive, but tell you the truth, if we can do a deal with Newcastle for Lewis Hall, then I'd definitely go for that rather than Tonali.
What's your thoughts then? If we move away from Tonali, are you fine with that? Because for me, I think Tonali's a good player, but
I do think that Tonali is a brilliant player, but like I would definitely move if I knew that we could do a deal with Lewis Hall. Then I'll move away from the Tonali deal and go and get Lewis Hall because of he's just got something about him that I just love, and he reminds me of a very young Luke Shaw at Southampton before we signed him, And that's what reminds me of Lewis Hall. Minus the injuries, of course, I think he will be a world-class left back.
And I think there's a few people saying that we could look at potentially. So if we go for Fernandez, we need to lock him into a 10-year contract, says Niche. I mean, I guess with this one, like if you're looking at contracts, then
No,
I
he's
suppose
not a
once
Luke
you go
Shaw.
past like I think usually like five plus one has been what we have been doing. I don't know if we're big. What's the longest contract Man United has done? Like we're not really doing Chelsea kind of type contracts, are we? So I'd be surprised if we did anything over 6 years. That might be a maximum for us as well.
Normally 5 year. Man United normally do either 5 years or 4 years contract. It's normally 4 years plus one. Man United normally do.
Yeah. According to like Lewis, according to like Newcastle fans I spoke to a week ago on the channel, Lewis Hall's injury record's absolutely. I think he had like a procedure, and then he rested a couple of games towards the end of the season. But I don't think there's going to be. I don't think there's anything too concerning regarding injuries for Lewis Hall, as far as I can see. Again, I think he missed a few games, but I think there was reasons for that. But I don't think there's particularly anything too concerning. Like Tabasa says, I don't think that's a problem really. So no, do you worry about the off the field things like with Tonali, like the betting things, or is that something like to be honest, I don't tend to talk about those because I mean that's something that we
Do you know what I
can't see.
mean? Look, look, what he did was wrong. He's done. He's paid his dues. He's took it on the chin. Move on, guys. Move on. At the end of the day, look, he done it. He done the crime. He done the time. It's time to move on. So, to tell you the
Moment,
truth,
yeah, go on.
Tonali's issues off the field is not an issue whatsoever. He's getting help. He's getting, as far as I know, he's getting help for it because it was an issue for him. But he's getting the help, and literally, people need to move on.
Pundit Cody says that Tonali and Fernandez are bad deals at those prices. I mean, at the moment, we don't know how much. I'll make this point, okay? If you get the right player, you're not going to care about the price in a few years' time. Every single deal Man United's done at some point in time has been like, I remember Andy Cole, people were saying it's a crazy price, Rio Ferdinand, a crazy price. No, I would think if it works out well, if Manchester United actually bought Elliot Anderson for 125 million and Manchester United won the Premier League title in the next couple of years, no one would care about that price at all. Like, yeah, if Man United bought Elliot Anderson for 50 and it didn't work out, people would like. So for me, it's not really a problem of what the price costs. It depends on how the player works out. Again, so I think if Man United bought Tonali as well, and we won the Premier League with Tonali playing in Man United's shirt for the next few years, like people would be happy, wouldn't we? So again, at this point in time, it's a bit of a guesswork regarding like what's a good option. I think the main thing is that are you happy if we go Premier League route, G Wolf? Because that's the one where at the moment, right, we have to accept the fact that Premier League players are costing an absolute fortune at the moment.
Exactly.
Are
It
you
isn't a.
happy with are you happy with that, or would you rather go to a different league and buy an Angela Stiller or a player that maybe not so familiar with?
For who?
Like for you, like would you say, yeah, these names you're not very happy with because like say you're not happy with the prices, would you rather go out of the Premier League though?
Um, yeah, definitely. I'll definitely go out of the Premier League if I have to. Just to go and get a cheaper deal.
Who
Obviously,
would
they
you
got to
go?
be.
Who would you go for? So
Well,
the thing is,
like,
like, it depends if those are. Will they be? They're
could
definitely
we get a
cheaper though.
cheaper deal? Could we get a cheaper deal with Angela Stiller? Could we get a cheaper deal with
Maybe. I think with
like?
Angela Stiller, every time I read about him, the price seems to go up. So I'll stop reading.
Could we get a cheaper deal? Like I heard that Paris Saint Germain wants to revamp their squad, and to do that, they might have to sell a few of their top players. So, like, could we get a Vitinha? Could we get a the Neves? Could we get Neves, which we should have done to before?
I
Like,
think Neves,
but would
like
it be? Yeah, but the only thing is, with those sort of players, would it be the similar price that we'd be paying for, like we are for Mateus
I
Fernandez,
don't know. Did you
or
see the
is it going
story
to be a little
yesterday?
bit more?
It's going to be way more apparently. That
That's the
there
thing.
was
That's the
story.
thing. That's the thing. Like,
Yeah, Paris Saint-Germain have said they won't sell those players for 150 million. So I don't think they're available. That at the moment, it seems that game-changing players are not going to get sold. So if you want to get world-class players in, you're going to have to pay a fortune. That's why United need to start getting players younger and start stacking the academy. We need to do more deals like Aiden Heaven and Dorgu, start raiding players because if we're looking at players that have already proved they're good in the Premier League, they're going to be absolutely crazy, aren't they?
it is, as I say, the for a bank average player, it is going to cost you like standard price is going to be like 60, 70, 80 million for a bank average player.
Would you rather go for, say, Big Dog here's got an option, say Stiller and Grimaldo will cost less than Anderson, both quality players. So would you go for those two players instead of Anderson?
Nope. I would go for Anderson all day long.
So
I
you'd rather
want the
pay extra
best. Yeah, I'll
than
pay the extra, but go and buy it. Go and literally go and get the best midfielder. Literally, if you can get one best midfielder, one best defender, one best goalkeeper, one best striker, I tell you what, if you build around them, then literally sky's the limit for United.
evening, Randy. Good to see you in chat, Randy. Hope you're having a good evening. So I'll go for a few of the comments. Well, if you've got any questions, please get them in
You think of
as well.
Alex Ferguson back in the day. Look how many best players that he had, and then he built the squad around them.
I know Alex Ferguson pretty much raided the Premier League and Championship, though, didn't need to get players. So that maybe that's what Man United are doing at the moment.
But the only thing is, it's like the right sort of players as well that we need. It's not just like, is Mateus Fernandez, yeah, he's good, but is he going to help us go forward? Like, is he, or is he going to be, like, because of this is a big club, a massive club, right? And sometimes the pressure gets onto them.
Yeah, that's something that's going to be impossible. But I was just thinking, like regarding things we've done in the past. You got like Paul Ince steps up for he was a good player for West Ham, absolutely fantastic player for Man United. And I think you got Pallister from Middlesbrough, like steps up at Man United. Steve Bruce from Norwich. So there's been examples in the past. I think the only way you're going to tell is that maybe this is why the process is so drawn out because
Mm,
Lamans has walked into Manchester United's like high pressure situation. There's no more pressure than being a goalkeeper at Man United, is there? Apart from maybe being a striker and struggling, but being a goalkeeper at Man United, the scrutiny's on you, and Lamans has
exactly,
looked
because you're on your own.
more than up to it. So maybe they're taking a long time to make decisions because they are looking at that as well. Again, it's difficult to see how you measure that. I mean, Eddie Anderson looks like a confident player on the big stage as well. I
He
think there's
does.
a few things as well. I think with like if you're going to spend very big, I've said this a few times, and G Wolf, I agree with you as well. If you're going to spend big, go for someone like Eddie Anderson. It seems like it's the least risky deal we could do, isn't it? Like he's literally proving he can do it. And again, I said this actually. I did a stream at 1 p.m. today, and I was talking about Eddie Anderson because of the news that was out. And I said that Nottingham Forest were not great when we played them, but he stood out. He was one of the best players in the midfield, despite us dominating the game in a lot of respects. And the only reason the game was close was because Eddie Anderson created two goals out of not much. So
Yep,
that was his audition, wasn't it? And we played Brighton.
exactly.
Was Bieber even on the pitch when we played Brighton? Like he did nothing.
He
So
played the last. I think he in the last match he was on the bench, but then when
do
he
you,
came on, he did cause us some problems.
do you remember Matheus Cunha? Like when he's at Wolves, he always turned up against Man United, always
Yep,
like a problem as well. I do agree with Daz. That's why I said like Eddie Anderson, you've got already. We know what he can do. We've got Edison, we know what he can do. And I think Matheus Fernandes and Mainu is like the potential future as well. So I'm going to again, I'm going a bit of a punt maybe on Fernandes, but it's one where because if I got Anderson over the line, I would be happy to take a punt. We've already got Mainu, we've already got Edison. That's kind of the only difference I think we've got in terms of what we'd go for. So you'd go for Tonali, I'd go for Fernandes. Otherwise, I think we're kind of in agreement.
I just think paying 80 million for a bang average player, whereas if we just pay that little bit more, he might be at, like, it doesn't even have to be a Tonali. It could be like a better player at the same age as Fernandez. I just think, that we can literally go for someone a lot better than Fernandez. And, like, what's really putting me off about Mateus Fernandes is that he's been relegated twice. Come on, surely that tells you something, that he's not, like, he can play better. Like, he's probably the out of the team of
Yeah.
Southampton and West Ham.
If you get promoted with
He's
West Ham,
probably a better player. He's the best out of the worst team.
yeah,
You
he's the
know what
best
I
player.
mean?
He's like West Ham's best player. West Ham,
But they
you know,
got
we
relegated.
struggled against West Ham, didn't we?
But the only thing is, it's still, it's like literally but they were fighting for their lives. All the players were literally trying to
Yeah, no, I'm just
think it.
saying, I
But
I don't really care
I
which
just think
team.
he's better out of the worst, but he's better out of the worst bunch of players at the clubs that he's played at that got relegated. But coming to Manchester United is a different kettle of fish. Is he going to be able to? Is he going to be able to make that big step
I'll just say
from
people in the
being a
chat that
relegated player?
we're not going to change G-Wolf's opinion. This is like kind of the equivalent of you not liking Mbeumo last season. I'm not trying to change your opinion. You don't rate Fernandez. I think Fernandez is quality, but we can disagree on this one as well. Um,
I just think he's better than a bad bunch. I just don't think it's. I think it's a
Evening Jarvis in
risky
the chat
piece
as
of
well.
business getting him.
Yeah, we all know. Do you know what the polls are at the moment? I've got a vote. It's kind of it's 60-40 at the moment in favor of Fernandez, but it is quite close. So it's like a judgment call. I can't vote, unfortunately. I'd be voting for Matheus Fernandez if I got to vote for that one, but it's quite close. Some people want to get Tonali, some people want to get Matheus Fernandez if that's the option. Again, we don't know if that's going to be definitely the price as well. Sam says we all know these selling clubs will not get the money they claim they want. So I think this is one where the prices are crazy as well. So we're going to just have to disagree on this one as well. And I think with this one, like so Dice says that G Wolf is right. Fernandez is not special, but I think it's to be honest, it has to be at the right price. I think Fernandez has got some quality, but again, you're 21-year-old, you're probably looking at potential a bit of potential as well as this one. If Fernandez is 80 million, says Cody, says surely Rashford is 85. I think the transfer is going to be, I think with this one, if you're looking at the valuation, Marcus Rashford's older, isn't he? So you're going to have a drop off in cost when you get to that late sort of 20s because if you give Rashford a 5-year deal, like he does rely a bit on pace. What sort of players are going to be at the end of that one? It's pretty difficult, isn't it? Lucky Singh says that he thinks like a 71.4 million bid is going to go in tomorrow. That is yeah, that is going to be that's quite specific. But no, we'll find out if Anderson's going to be going this
But
one.
I really bet you that he won't go for 71 million.
So you pay the extra 20 for Anderson. The extra 20s for Tonali. Anderson would be presumably like an extra. Well, we don't know how much Anderson. We don't know how much. No, we don't know how much Fernandez is going to cost either. So I don't think anyone thinks he's going to cost 80, do they? Like I don't think he's going to cost 80.
What for Fernandez?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to cost 80 million
The only
pounds.
thing is,
That
as I
seems
say,
like a crazy price.
If West Ham dig their heels in, as you said off stream. Yeah, right.
I think Man United,
They paid 40
yeah,
million for him.
they paid 40.
If they
Yeah,
paid 40, yeah, now he's under contract. He's signed a 3-year contract. He hasn't got a release. He hasn't got a relegation release clause or anything like that. So basically, West Ham can say, right, okay, we bought him last year. We paid 40. He's had a really great. He's had a really great season. Yeah, we got relegated, but he's had a great season. We're digging our heels in. 80 million for him. And if you don't pay the 80 million, then walk away, because then he can play for West Ham. The only way that it will be cheaper is if Fernandes actually puts in a transfer request. That's the only way that it will get cheaper.
so Danny's saying, do you think also, like, Man United, we didn't pay the money that Everton wanted for Branthwaite. We wouldn't have probably paid the money that Brighton wanted for Belieber. So if we're looking at West Ham wanting 80 and they don't take whatever we offer them, maybe we walk away. Like, I know a lot of people think that it's going to be deal number two, and I said that a while ago. I thought it was going to be deal number two. It looked like it was, Man United are serious about this move. But if West Ham want 80 and no one's offering 80, at some point they need the money, don't they? So for Man United, we could just wait potentially.
We can't wait, but then there might be a risk, because as you said, Real Madrid, Paris Saint Germain might come in with a 70 million offer. You know what I mean? They could, literally, they could go and try and find a compromise with West Ham and say, look, okay, 70 million plus 10. But for me,
Yeah.
literally, for a championship player, nah, how much did Bellingham go for to Borussia Dortmund? Not
I'm,
Jude Bellingham, his brother.
I don't know. He'd never played in the Premier League, though, had he?
No, but he still went for quite big money, I think.
I don't know how much he went for, to be honest.
Wasn't it something? Well, not big money, but I think it was in the high 20s, wasn't it?
I don't know. I was going to guess about 25 to 30, but I don't know. Andy says if we walk away, fans will lose their heads. But Man United will have like a set price. I think that West Ham will have to acknowledge if they've just got he's got a difficult agent, hasn't he? Like that's the problem. His agent is just going to make it awkward deal to be done. But would you be happy with just going right? Here's 100 for Tonali then, because that would be
Even with the Tonali deal, I would try and get it cheaper than that I can. I wouldn't go in fully with 100 million. I would say, right, put 100 million aside, but if we can pay, go to Newcastle and said, look, here's 75 million plus 10, and then see what happens, and see if we can come to an agreement that we can get a little. But you got 100 million there already there for the Tonali deal. But if we can get him cheaper, brilliant.
yeah. Old Mickey says with Fernandez, it's not so much the price, it's the age. Are we going for? I suppose this one, when you look at the players we're buying, I don't think we're looking at a Casemiro replacement really. I think we're looking at a different way of playing potentially. That we're looking at all the players we're buying are very different in terms of like they're a lot more mobile players. So I think we might be looking to try and play a different style of football. Do you know what I was thinking in terms of like some of the players we're looking at? Elliot Anderson, for example, someone like MATEUS FERNANDES, who is like a very high stamina player as well, and someone like Edison. Maybe Man United, we're like building a pressing team, aren't we? We're building a team that can press, that can play a high tempo, that's going to be a lot more able to cope with the physically demanding games than the team we've currently got. So can you imagine that, G Wolf, like where you got people like Cunha, Dorgu, say Fernandez, Anderson, Edison. These are your players. We can play a more high tempo pressing game. We can put pressure on opposition teams a bit more than we used to be able to.
Exactly. This is the thing. We can play higher up. We can get the ball quicker. That's the thing. That's the only thing about Man United last season. Like we didn't get we didn't get the ball quicker. When we did get the ball, we were slow in play. And with the players that we're getting this time, it will give us that. It should give us that more, more attacking style of play that we want to see, and also what Michael Carrick loves as well. He loves quick passing movement, and United haven't got that with the players that we got. He's got them with some of them, but some of them
Yeah, well,
also, some players are just not quick enough with the ball.
do you think that we're going to replace like do you look at Casemiro as like just a player we had and now we're going to go for a different styling? So I don't think we're
Yeah,
if we're going to replace Casemiro, wouldn't like if looking at the players we got on the market, I don't know. Casemiro is like a bit of a unique player. I don't think there is a Casemiro, is there?
exactly. There isn't. Like literally, there isn't any. There isn't another Casemiro anywhere, and that's why we're looking for a different style.
And Randy's saying if we don't get a proper six, we're going to get run over. And so, maybe Man United are looking at. I mean, people are questioning. Do you think we play differently next season? I think we might have to, so we're going to have very different players.
Not only are we gonna have different players, but also we're gonna have a different formation, different style of play. So, tell you the truth, this is what we're looking at. United are looking at potential formation is a 4-3-3. Now, if that's the case, then the three in midfield should be Mainu, Edison, and Anderson.
Yeah,
And
the,
then
the Edison deal is
if we
looking
are
like a
gonna
better
buy
deal every day,
Fernandez,
Daz. Honestly, the Edison deal is looking like a cheap one, isn't it? So 35 million, 75K a week, if that's the rumored salary, it's looking like a pretty good deal all round.
exactly. And to get that deal done early as well, all that deal needs is a signature at the bottom of the contract from Edison. Then that's it. Deal done. I bet you. I bet you now. Right. I bet you now that Atlanta wish that they held out a little bit more because of they could have got around about
He's
50
only
to
got
60 million for
he's only
Edison.
got a year in his contract though, so I think there's a limit to
It
how much
did.
money you can get. But if you
It,
look at the other players, like Tonali's got like a long contract, doesn't he? So I think when you're looking at that one, like
but
Atalanta,
the only
this was
thing
the last year
is,
to cash in, wasn't it?
it was the right move to cash in, but they could have got it. I'll tell you what,
They tried to. Atletico Madrid
with
were
the
looking like
players, yeah, but like with the players that you're seeing that, bang average players.
no one else was in. No one else was in from there, was it? It's like Atletico
Exactly.
Madrid, and the Atletico Madrid were taking too long. Man United just paid a bit more and got it done. So maybe it's looking like maybe it's a good deal overall. Like people might change their opinion on what we did, but the Edison deal is actually looking like a sensible bit of business. So yeah, I think if too many actually was for sale, I think we might get a price hike for him as well. So it would be a bit ridiculous left. So as Danny B said, yeah, year left. It was now or never for Atalanta, wasn't it? You get the deal done now,
Exactly.
or that's why he was a cheap deal. So again,
But
it just goes to
I
show
just
though
think
that
it's a cracking deal. Like
it,
you can get cracking deals, and with
we,
Edison,
we were lucky though that the contract was running down. So
exactly,
again, the players we're looking at now, the contracts are not going to be doing this, are they? Mickey says if we're
exactly.
playing 4-3-3, who's with Bruno? Then who are you taking? you're probably picking Elliot Anderson and Tonali, aren't you?
Exactly.
To be honest, I think that maybe with this one, then you can have Fernandez to be honest, I'd put Anderson in there all day because I think Anderson would cover the most ground, win back possession the most, protect the
Yeah.
defense the best. I think Anderson's going to be your guy if you're looking at that team. Then so yeah, that would be. But again, if he's not on the table, then you've got to make a tough decision, haven't you, about who you're going to go for. Do you think the Belieber deal's like done? Because
I think the Belieber deal now is dead and buried. I think we're moving on to other to other targets. Um, we there's loads of players that we're looking at each summer. People as loads of people in the comments, plus also the journalists were saying it as well about, oh yeah, Man United got a signed contract. I've already got a contract deal agreement with Belieber, but trying to deal with Brighton. But if Brighton don't want to sell their best player, then they won't. So, in all fairness, okay, we're not gonna. You want us to pay 100 million for Belieber? No, we don't want to pay that. Now, if that's Brighton's digging their heels in saying still want 100 million, even though that Belieber was absolutely atrocious last season, but Brighton still want 100 million for him, then we got to
then they're
move
going to
on
have to
to other
lower that price,
targets.
aren't they? So
Exactly. He was. Tell you the truth, see, in his first breakout season, yes, I would have said that just pay the money because he's a decent player. But in his second season, he flopped like a dead salmon. Literally, he was absolutely atrocious this season, and I would said that his value was devalued to around about 50. At least he's a £50 million player. At least that's it.
Danny B's like saying that maybe at the World Cup said if Bruno's playing in a three with Neves and Vitinha, which could be similar to Bruno mainly Fernandez, says Danny B, maybe we'll get an idea of how that functions as a midfield. So it could be that. So maybe in the World Cup will give us a bit of
The only
uh,
thing is, Bruno's always
comparison.
said that he likes to play further back because when he gets the ball, he likes to ping it. He likes the ping pass, diagonal passes, and all that lot.
Yeah.
So,
You,
tell you the truth, win that three, he does prefer it.
well, that's something that Fernandez is good at. That he is going to be good at long passing. That's the skill he's got. So
Exactly.
again,
He's always got that in his locker for us.
I mean, like the other Fernandez, Matheus Fernandez has got the long passing in his locker already. That's
Has
something
he
he's
got
got.
really got that? I don't
Yeah,
know.
just look at it later. Look at his stats later. He's got it's one of his strengths. Like long passing is Matheus Fernandez' attribute. It's something that Komeni doesn't really have. So that for me would be quite decent. Now, I did a poll in the chat, and this was going to be the poll was which is the better deal, Matheus Fernandez for 80 million or Tonali for 100 million. So it was pretty close actually. Fernandez edged it slightly, 54% to 46%. So again, I guess it's like it's almost like a 50-50. You're kind of paying a bit more for Tonali, and you're paying a bit more of a contract as well. But maybe Matheus Fernandez in a couple of years' time might be a better deal. Again, I suppose it's a bit like the Ollie Watkins with Sesko, isn't it? Ollie Watkins was more of a guarantee, a bit more experience, but Sesko would be maybe a better player in the next few years. So I think United tend to go for younger if possible. So that's why I think they might be looking at Matheus Fernandes and maybe Alex Scott is going to be off the table. I think as soon as Ariola went to Bournemouth, I think Alex Scott started being linked to that club. So maybe that's going to be a reason as well. Mickey says he thinks that Fernandez and Scott are going to be who we're going to get, and say a combination of price and being resellable. So that would be why he thinks they're going to be the players we go for. So again, I think this one, like, I think you're making a sensible. There's reasons there, isn't there, that they are resellable, But again, if you're going to spend a huge amount of money, then I don't know. It's
But
if
the
you want
only
to if you
thing
want
is,
to
if
if you want
we
to sell a
buy,
player for profit, if you want to sell a player for profit, you can't spend 80 million, can you? That's going to
right,
be expensive.
hold on, think of this scenario, Rich. Right now, we all know, yeah, right, that Jim Radcliffe has said, yeah, right, that every player at the club has got 2 years to
Yeah. So like
improve,
2 years to prove themselves.
to prove themselves. Right now, think of this scenario: we go and buy Mateus Fernandez for say like we pay what West Ham want, 80 million, and then in 2 years' time we're selling him. How much do you think he'll go for if we sold him?
What
And
should he
he
go
wa-
for?
and he was an absolute flop.
Oh, if it's an absolute flop, then it's the same for anyone, isn't it?
Then surely,
Then
like literally, right? Surely this will tell us, yeah, right, that this is another thing as well that you got to think of, that he's been relegated. The player has been relegated twice. And if we pay 80 million for him and he doesn't do the business that because the pressure has got to him over the 2 years, then that's going to be a really bad deal. And then is that a deal worth taking?
you're saying that that's the same for anyone, isn't it? Like if
Yeah,
Man
but
United spent,
you can see it with certain players though. Like
yeah, yeah.
would you
But
pay
with
that
Matheus
extra?
Fernandes,
Would you pay that extra for? Would you pay that extra to go and find someone else, or would you pay 80 million for Mateus Fernandez because of his age? Because he's a younger, he's got a higher like people are saying that he might have a higher ceiling than Tonali and all that lot. But if he flops,
I don't think he's going to flop though. That's the thing.
uh,
But he hasn't flopped though, has he?
he's got two teams relegated.
No, well, he's played for teams that got relegated, but he hasn't single-handedly relegated them, has he? It's the same way that when Arsenal won the Premier League, was Gyökeres the best striker in the league? Is Gyökeres better than Sesko because
No.
Arsenal won the league? Like, no,
Yeah, but the only thing is he was the best out of the bad bunch.
he wasn't. Like,
I don't
there's
see
no
how
there's
you
no way
can't.
there's no
He's
way that
got
Gyökeres is
relegated
better than Haaland.
twice.
There's no way that Gyökeres is better than Haaland because Arsenal won the league.
But the only thing is, he got relegated. He's got two teams relegated. He was part of a team that got relegated twice, and it's just literally, it's a big risk to go and get Mateus Fernandez. Yes, he's young, but I just think there's other players that we could go out there.
Would you pay 100 million for Wharton? Like people are talking about Wharton in the chat. He's got a very high price tag. I mean, Crystal Palace, I suppose Crystal Palace have won two trophies in 2 years. So he's winning things like that said. It could be that that price is very, very high as well.
Exactly. Like, it depends what you guys want. Like, me personally, I would rather pay that little bit extra to get a player that is going to be reasonable for us rather than going for someone that, yes, he's younger, but in 2 years' time, we're selling him for less than what we've got.
So Wharton more than Tonali for Andy. I think Wharton's a good player, but
I
again,
think
100
Morton's a good
million,
player.
it's a lot of money. I don't know.
If you remember, Jim Radcliffe said, yeah, right, that when he
It was like
did that,
Wharton and Believer, wasn't it? But we're not going to get
yeah,
those two now, are we? I don't think.
no, but it could be Elliot Anderson instead. Elliot Anderson under Wharton.
Yeah,
What
I
about
think
that?
with Wharton, like Wharton and Wharton and Alex Scott, that can they get both those players at Liverpool? They've already got Verts, they've already got other midfielders, they've got Szoboszlai. I don't see how they could be looking at this one as well. Cake says that none of these players are worth 100 million. He'd look at Angela Stiller. I mean, who's to say Angela Stiller doesn't have like a price hike as well? That we haven't seen any stories about him for a while. So maybe Angela Stiller would also be subject to a big price rise. Who knows? But again, I wouldn't be surprised
I
if
think
that is the case.
he'll be in the higher 90s, I think, Stiller.
Well, I don't know how much Stiller would be actually. I don't think. How much do you think he'd cost?
Well, if you think about it, look how much Wirtz went for.
I don't think he's going to be that sort of price.
No, but it could be close to that sort of price. Could be a little bit cheaper, but the only thing is, he's under contract, and because he had a decent breakthrough season with his team.
Say 60. It's going to be like 60 for Stiller at least, says Danny B. Well, 70 million euros, 60 million pounds might be about the same as well. He said he thinks this price hike is purely a Premier League issue at the moment. It might be. It might be Premier League based. We'll have to see if like this kind of rolls out into the. Well, if we're seeing Real Madrid offer 150 for Alvarez, maybe there's going to be maybe transfers are going to be insane at this point, and maybe Man United just need to get these deals done a bit quicker as they possibly can. Question actually before we wrap up. This will be like maybe the last question.
Stiller has Stiller got a release clause?
He
If
did
he's got
have,
a
but
release clause, then how
he did
much is
have, but
that?
not anymore. There was
There we
one,
go.
but it's gone. So Lucky says we're going to get a deal done for 71.4 million. So you're saying for Matthews Flanders, right? We'll see that, Lucky. That's 71.4 million. So hopefully quite soon. We'll see. United side dice is still a 65 plus 5 million add-ons potentially. So again, maybe that price. The first time I heard about Angela Stiller, he was supposed to be like have a release clause of about 35 to 40 as well. So has he still got a release clause? I thought Stuttgart were going to pay 2 million to remove the release clause and then hike the price up. So like United die, I think the release clause got bought by the club. So that's why it's going to cost more. Question then, G Wolf, like all the transfers are ridiculously expensive. We can agree on that, can't we?
Yeah,
How much
definitely
do you think?
agree
How
on
much
that.
do you think Man United are going to spend this window in total? Like,
As I said,
if we
like
sell players, like factor that in. But in terms of like all the players coming in, how much is it going to add up to? Do you think?
with all the players, and I mean not just the midfielders and all that lot, we are spending round about the 250, 300 million mark. 100%. We got to. Because
I
of
say two.
not only have we got to revamp the midfield, we also need a left back. We also need a striker. This is minimum. Like we need 5 or 6 players in this window minimum. Right now, hopefully, we got one already done, so we got another 5 to go. But let's see. Let's see what happens. But definitely 250 to 300 million is getting sold. Is getting done at least in this window.
Yeah, Rob says that Lucky knows what he's talking about. We'll have to see. I mean, if an offer's going to go in, I hope an offer's going to go in. Hopefully, something's going to happen.
Oh dear me.
I'd say Sam says Angela Stiller's got a release clause in his contract. I think this is going to be that. I think it's going to be like I think that release clause got bought out. That's what people are thinking. So we'll see. Daz reckons we're going to spend 300 at least. David Ornstein, who's widely regarded as one of the say few credible journalists, maybe, or a few people reporting. He said that you might have seen this, G Wolf, but David Ornstein got asked about which team's going to be the most busy in the transfer window, and he said Man United. So does that make you think we're going to be getting?
We got to be. We got to be ready for the champion. We got to be ready. We got to do better in the Champions League than we did last time. And the only way to do that, we need better players. We need quite a reasonably big squad. And also the youngsters are going to have a massive influence on our team next season as well. So look out for the youngsters coming through the team next season because they're going to be absolutely pivotal to what we want to do with the club going forward. If we
Do you
want
know what I was thinking
Champions
to
League
you of like
football,
maybe this is there's no better time than ever to actually make sure you get good players coming through the academy because if they played like two good games in the Premier League, then we could sell them for like 50 million based on like today's valuations, couldn't we?
yeah, could do, but it ain't gonna happen. Especially like if we can get at least 30 mil for Rashford, you got around about 25, 30 mil. Obviously, we got the 50% clause. We got all the clauses to come our way as well with Hoyland. Not with Hoyland, Hoyland money, but also that 50% on the Greenwood deal. I tell you what, if what I've seen is true that he's on his way to Fenerbahce, we get 50% of that deal.
How
And
much
if
do you
he
think it's
goes,
going to be though? Like, is he going to go there for like 50 million, and then we ain't going to get half of anything over 25? So I don't know. It's going to be good, but it's a shame it's not going for like really really big money. That would have been quite nice, wouldn't it?
but even at 50, 60, or even 70 mil, we get half of that. So tell you the truth,
Yeah. One thing that's interesting, one thing that we were all agreeing on is like, so we should invest in VAR. Maybe we should invest in VAR. Maybe Man United need to have a referee academy and then release them into the wild as like referees that pretend they don't support Man United. And then maybe that could be it's a long-term strategy, isn't it? But maybe we could get some decisions going our way, hopefully. Cake says Edison's starting to look like very good business. That he's starting to look cheaper by the hour, isn't he? Like, to be honest, do you know what I said like today, to you? I was talking to I was messaging Indiana, I think, on Twitter. He's been on the channel a couple of times, and he posted something about I think it might have been Alex Scott early in the day saying 80 million pounds, and it might have been this story. And I just replied and said, I'll start making the 90 million thumbnail for like later in the week because it feels a bit like that, doesn't it? It feels like every time. Do you remember when we talked about MATEUS FERNANDES, and every time we did a stream on him, the price went up by 5 million. I was just like, come on, what is going on? Like, it feels ridiculous. It feels a bit like Believer last year, where
yeah.
it's like 80 million pound deal, and then it's like 90 million, 100 million, and I'm thinking, where the hell is this like nonsense going to stop? It's just getting ridiculous as well. No, this is
Oh,
making me think
dear.
though that we should have done deals in January. What the hell were we doing like in January? We were kind of sat there waiting for hoping that we can get top four with the squad we got, and instead we should have been investing in the future.
But the only thing is, with us not buying in January,
Big up United for the win as well. It's been a little
we
while, mate. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're good.
I was just gonna say, yeah, right, that with us not buying anyone in January, we've got a lot more money to spend in this summer.
Unfortunately, though, it feels a bit like there's been massive inflation in the markets. It feels
And
like
that's
what you
the
could
only
get
thing.
for.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Do you
the only
remember
thing.
last year when like Gittins and Alanga were 60 million pounds? Like that
Yeah.
was overpriced. And maybe like I'm not going to say this, okay, but are we going to have a conversation in 2 months' time? I don't know, like Ryan, maybe you need to be on my side for this one, but are we going to have a conversation where we go, actually, Gordon's not a bad deal for 70 million because that seemed expensive. But can you imagine though, like that if like Ryan quite like Gordon, I'm not so keen on Gordon. I think 70 million pounds was a lot of money,
Yep.
but maybe in a weird way, in like a month's time, we'll go, actually, Gordon's a good value because we'll start seeing other players go for insane money. So it's just one of those situations where I don't know. I don't know where it's going to end. I just hope Man United get another deal done, sensible price, so we can just kind of move on a bit. Because
Exactly. Like as I say, like every player, every team has got a price on a player. Obviously, we've got our prices on the same on their
How
player.
much is like Xerxes worth in this inflated market? Like, surely we can get something for some of these
For
deals. Like, we're selling players as well.
I've heard Xerxes to Italian for around about 30 mil. I'll tell you what, that is an absolute steal considering that he's hardly played for us last season. But he's still highly regarded in Italy.
I know. I think he could do one or two. I'm thinking with like Agate and Xerxes because of the way transfer fees are going. I'd be looking at thinking maybe Man United should sell them like if don't ask too much money for Agate and Xerxes, let's put some sell on clauses in that because why not? Like if he goes if Xerxes goes for like a reasonable fee and does quite well in wherever he goes, I think Italy and Serie A, he was a highly regarded player in that league.
Yeah.
So maybe again, my I'm not like Tyrone. I'm not going to say too much. What I'm saying is that if Xerxes goes, for I don't know if there's a sort of money we paid for him. What if Xerxes has a good season? Like Jago Forlan went to La Liga, Anthony went to La Liga and had a good 6 months, didn't he? So what if
Yep.
Xerxes goes to Serie A and actually looks like a much better player? Then maybe he gets sold to another club. He's still quite young, and maybe we get some money for him. And like say 25 or 30 for Agate. I think Agate might be one of these players. Like hear me out, G-Wolf. He might do okay in the World Cup. Like it might be okay regarding this one as well.
Who's that? What, Ugarte?
Agate. I think international level football, he might actually look like in the Premier League he looks bad.
Yeah, but
In
in
the yeah,
for his national team, he does look he does look a lot better than what he is in our team.
so we got like a good quite.
If he
I'll
had,
just read the comment from Jarvis. He says the more he thinks about it, maybe we should keep it simple. He says get Tonali, get Fernandez. So we're kind of be spent about an hour arguing over this, but Jarvis goes, let's just buy them both, guys. So he says get Tonali, get Fernandez, sign a cheap backup striker. That's going to be roughly 200 million maybe, then forget the left back and left winger and go for quality over quantity, then how do you feel about that one? Then it's going to be like I suppose our squad's going to be a bit thin, but you would get if you get
so he
Fernandez.
thinks. So hold on. So he thinks that we've only got 200 million to spend.
Essentially, though, do you like the idea that you get with midfield you get Tonali and Fernandez, and then you go for a striker as well? So that's three that's four players in total, isn't it? You get three midfielders, a backup striker. I think if Man United spent more, we could get a left back.
Me personally, like I would. Me personally, I would try and do the Anderson deal. Um, go and get Anderson. Literally, just pay whatever Anderson wants. Literally, I think he'll be absolutely top for us. Get Anderson. The only thing is the cheaper deal. Would I pay for Fernandez? No. Um, I'd try and find somewhere else. A better midfielder. Go and get Lewis Hall from Newcastle if we can.
Yeah.
See if we can get a deal
Right,
there.
I was thinking
And
like
then and also with the striker, they United said that they want an experienced striker. Now, the best experienced striker at the moment is a free, and I know his age is going to be an issue, but I would definitely go in for Lewandowski, 100%. Because not only would he help Sesko in being a backup striker, but also it would definitely help those the youth players as well.
it would be an interesting one, wouldn't it? Like it'd be an interesting one to see how that works out. I'm not sure. I think Jarvis threw like a curveball there, G Wolf, because saying like Tonali plus Fernandez. I would have probably gone for like I think Lewandowski is like to be honest, Lewandowski would be it's going to go one or two ways, isn't it? Lewandowski would either be it would either be like a Henrik Larsson or it'd be like Zlatan, where you go, actually, why don't we sign this player years ago? Because obviously he wasn't going to come, but it could go disastrously if he's like, not able to cope with the Premier League speed. But I think Lewandowski is a really interesting shout, and Berber said he'd love us to get him. Um, so yeah, if he
I
came,
didn't understand that. If Lua comes, what about next year? If Lua comes,
Anthony Martial's another player that Andy says. I'm not sure what he's been doing
yeah.
since he left United. Yeah, tricky. I think with this one, like Lewandowski is an interesting one that I'm just not sure whether it's the I don't know if it's a cheap one. It's been an interesting experiment. Like I think a lot of people see him as being as like a perfect sign. I mean, I thought Zlatan was really good. I did really like Henrik Larsson on like the little few games we saw of him was really good. But then they could be like Cavani was a. You don't lose the skill and the ability, do you? You don't lose the finishing. He just
No,
doesn't have the mobility that he used to have. So
he's just not
again, I,
quick enough. But the only thing is, we don't need a quick striker. We need a great finisher.
it might. All I think of is like in the it might be a bit of a compromise if Man United want to be playing a high press or they want to have mobile players in the front three. Then is it like when we had Cristiano Ronaldo who wasn't as mobile, it would mean that like you saw some midfielders got pulled out of position to press people. So I don't know. I don't know. I think Lewandowski is an interesting one, but it's very short term, isn't it? It's
It
that's the
is. It will be short term. But the only thing is, right, if it means that if Sesko is like, if Lewandowski, like, takes Sesko under his wing for a year at United, plus also you got the others as well, Sesko will be a much better player. So then he'll be more more extinguished in his position,
it could be something like
and then
Cavani for me
we
was
can go,
world class. Like
and then the only thing is we can go and get another top player next year. Like, this year, work on the midfield, go and get the other three players that we need as well for the positions. Get Lewandowski on the free. Next season, we're going to have more money. We can spend big on the striker and spend big on another defender and a right back.
okay, we're gonna get Jarvis on for 5 minutes. We were gonna wrap up. We're gonna get a bonus guest on for 5 minutes if you're good, you will for like
I'm good.
5 10 minutes. We'll get Jarvis on and explain the curveball. Can you convince like G Wolf, because I've given up, can you convince him that he's a good football player, Jarvis? I mean, I've tried,
You are
but
never going to convince me that MATEUS FERNANDES is a good player.
okay.
He's bang average at best.
Right, we're gonna have like I'm getting reinforcements in. So Jarvis, let's change the layout. So we're gonna get Jarvis in, G Wolf, and I want you to tell him you think that Matheus Fernandes is bang average, and I want to see what his response is. Maybe he's going to be more diplomatic than I think.
Get him in. Get him in.
It will be. Don't worry, G Wolf. Don't worry. It's like I'll rest. I'll
Don't
rest for a bit and let Jarvis discuss what he
don't worry.
thinks.
I change Jarvis's mind. It's all good.
Okay. Again, we'll see how this goes. So I sent the link. Maybe you should just like as a warm up say Why don't you like Fernandez, G Wolf? Like, what's you're concerned about?
What with Fernandez?
Yeah,
I just think, he's been relegated twice.
yeah, you know that.
He's the best out of the worst bunch.
Yeah, but what don't you like about his game?
I just don't think he's got a higher ceiling than what everybody thinks. Like people are saying, because he's young, he's got a very high ceiling. But I just got a funny feeling that it comes to a bigger club with bigger ambition. Like literally, like is he going to be able? Because not a lot of play. Like you can say this about every player that
I
comes to
know,
United. Yeah,
I
but
know.
coming to United, the pressure gets to you. And Fernandez, I think the pressure will get to him a lot, and he just won't be able to hack it at United.
I appreciate G Wolf. I appreciate your views. Big up to you, Jarvis.
Yeah, big up,
Always a
guys. Big up.
pleasure.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good. I've been outside all day. The sun is shining. It's beautiful up in the north right now, and yeah, I've been out actually on the golf pitch doing 18 holes. So I'm quite tired in my
Nice.
legs. I came home just like an hour ago. So
Today it's been like little bits of sun and then torrential rain. So I've like looked at it and gone, I'll just go outside and it's just started hammering it down. It's been like
oh,
really,
Yeah. Two
but it's
weeks
supposed to be
ago, we
good
weren't
weather.
saying that though, were we, Rich?
No, in a few days it's supposed to be like a heat wave. So I've already getting like food for a barbecue ready. So I'm planning barbecues on the weekend. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, Jarvis, I know you got a curveball. One other thing I was going to say was I've been talking to G Wolf a lot tonight. G Wolf doesn't rate Matheus Fernandes at all. And I think, again, I've kind of given up trying to convince him. I'm not going to try and influence G Wolf. But what do you think that like G Wolf would be surprised by if Man United did sign Matheus Fernandes? Like attributes. I was trying to talk up myself. I think his long passing game is very good. I think there's lots of things he does well. His energy is really good.
yeah.
Think with like G Wolf's a bit skeptical because he's been relegated, which I think it's unfortunate that he's played for those teams.
Not once, but twice.
Well, G Wolf and the rest of you guys, you know my stance when it comes to Mateus Fernandes. I've been a big fan of him since I would say, yeah, I would say I saw him when we played West Ham before Christmas, first game. I think he has something special at him. He's all these Man United players that we are used to through the history of Man United. They have the right attitude when it comes to the mentality side of the game. Mateus Fernandes is a guy who doesn't hide on the pitch. That's why I really rate him. He always wants the ball. I've been fed up by watching McTominay, Fred, all of these guys hiding on the pitch. We have been in big games, especially against Manchester City, Liverpool. We've seen us crumble
Yep.
because they are not Man United players. But Mateus Fernandes has the right attitude in my mind. He is a Man United player by soul or whatever you want to call it. So for me, I think he has the attributes. He's still young, but I know also that as a young player you can develop, and he needs to develop because he has a lot of flaws in his game. He's way too eager. He gets attracted to the ball. He drifts a lot. He's not very positionally disciplined. So I think he would need at least 6 months at this Man United team to learn how to play with players, for example, like Bruno, because I would see it as a big problem playing Fernandes and Bruno at the same time, because then you will have two guys running everywhere. That will actually ruin Carrick's defensive stability. Because that's what we need, positional sense, and so it will be interesting. But I like what I see. I like, his attitude. I like how he shifts play from one side to the other. He tries things. He has a brilliant technique. He's good when he receives the ball. He knows how to avoid pressure. Get away from his guy. He's not at the Elliot Anderson level. No, 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 not Tonali level. But again, as a prospect for the future, I think it would be great to take in. But the price tag is very high. That's the biggest problem. I said yesterday that on a stretch, maybe we could go as high as 60 plus 5 add-ons. Maybe that. But basically, he's a 45, 50 million player with a high ceiling for me. So we will be taking a risk, but I think 80 million is too much. But as I said,
100% too much.
yeah,
No
yeah.
person in the championship has gone for 80 million. This will be an absolute. This will be a sort of like for a championship player, because that's what technically Fernandez is. People are saying that he's right. That's like a British transfer record of the championship.
You might be right, but again, we are paying a lot of money for the potential. So again, I don't think we
Exactly.
should be at that stage. As I said, I want actually quality over quantity, and I might even go as far as say we should just spend 120 million on Elliot Anderson and 90 on Tonali and be done with it.
Yep.
Just
Totally agree.
to secure the midfield. I'm willing to risk the defense. I know we have 3 fullbacks. At Harry Amas, we have 4 fullbacks. We have 5 centre backs. We have 2 left wingers if you go with Dogu and
Yep.
Cunha. We could even go as far as say we have 3 right wingers. If you add what's his name, the youngsters,
Shay.
Shay Lacey, yeah.
Shay
And
Lacey.
again, maybe we need a second striker. Maybe we need we need at least someone who can come in and be
Who would you
versatile.
go for as a second striker to Sesko then?
Well, there's so many options. We went through them all yesterday, but the most sensible, I'm just going to check my notes, must probably be if we can go for a play like Igor Thiago. I left a comment for you, Rich, the other day when we talked about him.
Thiago was one, wasn't he?
The overall deal with Igor Thiago could be okay, since his wages roughly is on 40 to 60k a week right now. So let's say we can get him for less than 100. The overall package on wages would be 5 million a year, and that's not too bad for a experienced striker. If you compare him with other players that we have talked about, Osimhen or Vlahovic or what's his name, Lewandowski, then we are 350. We are talking about
exactly.
80, 90 million.
But the only thing is, right, what I would say is, what you're getting with Lewandowski. Literally, literally, Lewandowski. Yeah, okay. The wages will probably be a bit high. I would say I think with Lewandowski, I think his wages will be around about the 250, 275 mark. I don't think it'll be over 300 million. 300,000.
I think the question we need to ask us: what are we expecting for that second striker?
So
just sit on the bench, come in every other game and play 10 minutes?
No, I think he will play. He will have to play. He will play a big part.
In my mind, I think the second striker will come in and play almost equal as many minutes as Sesko. One game, sit on the bench. One game you start. One game you
great job. This is why I think Lewandowski for me is not ideal, because a lot of people say Lewandowski can come off the bench for 20 minutes, but Benjamin Sesko will have to have games where he doesn't play at all. If you're looking at Benjamin Sesko will not be starting or on the bench. Sometimes he won't play. Sometimes he might be injured or unavailable. And I think if Lewandowski was able to play 90 minutes in a lot of matches, I'd be interested, but I'm not sure he can do that. So that's why I think Thiago would be a better option. And I'll just say sorry to Mr. B in the chat. We're always talking about raiding Brentford. He's a Brentford fan. It's just bad timing. We spent like an hour and a half talking about midfield targets, and as soon as Mr. B comes in, we go, right, let's switch to Thiago and talk about him. Just coincidence. But Jarvis, do you feel like with this one, like Man United have got Ederson, we've got some experience there. We go. I would go for Anderson if the budget got that player done, or if it was possible. But after that, I think MATEUS Fernandes for me is going to be one like with Mainu. You've got a lot of potential in those 2 players. Yeah. And I was talking to a Newcastle fan last week. He was doing a lot of scouting, and I said to this to G Wolf. He didn't agree, but the Newcastle fan I was talking to, he sees a lot of similarities between MATEUS Fernandes' game and Bruno Guimaraes at Newcastle, and he sees them. And he was actually saying, as a non-Man United fan, he was saying Alex Scott and Matheus Fernandes, if Man United are seriously looking at those sort of deals, he thinks it's an indication that Man United have actually starting to look at transfers in a more sensible and maybe more, a lot better way. Because it's kind of easy to pick Tonali because we know what Tonali can do, and I think Man United have maybe done that a bit too much. I think Tonali's definitely not like 30, is he? So he's still got a lot to offer the game. But I think Man United looking at Matheus Fernandes, that's kind of the sort of players that um, Philip from Toon Tactics TV was talking about, saying that he would like to replace if Man United raided Newcastle and bought those players, he'd be looking at those players to replace them. So I thought it's quite interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I can see the similarity when it comes to Bruno G and Matheus Fernandes. But Bruno G is a level above right now. But
exactly.
But it made me think about what G Wolf was talking about, that he's been relegated twice. I don't think too much of it. There are good players who have come from relegated teams. Liverpool, they bought Robertson from Hull the year they got retired, and look at his career. So sometimes it's just a little bit of a coincidence, and
one thing I will say to you, that a relegated player does that will devalue surely that's got to devalue the player. And considering that he has been relegated twice, should his value devalue more?
Well, but what's the value of a player? If you look at the current market right now, everybody is an 80 to 100 million player, it feels like. And it also made me think a little bit about what will happen next season, when we have the new financial rules coming in. You can spend 85% of your income. What's the name?
Yeah, it's like your turnover, isn't it?
Yeah, the turnover, 85% of the turnover, even up to 90, as far as I understand.
That puts Man United in pretty good position, given we've cut their wage bill a lot. So maybe a lot of clubs are preparing for this, G Wolf. I think it could be a reason why prices are going to suddenly, because something suddenly happened where prices are shooting up, and fortunately, you don't get much for your money.
And on the other side, Rich, is also how much the Premier League sides earn, and they don't want to sell. Why would you want to sell your best asset? If you were West Ham, if you were the Bournemouth, why would you sell Alex Scott? It will be impossible for them to replace him if they don't have someone they know and hidden gem that's lined up.
Isn't it? If you're Bournemouth and you're Brentford or you're say Crystal Palace or Wharton, if you get relegated from the Premier League, which let's be realistic, given the money, there's not a lot of difference between Spurs nearly got relegated. If you get relegated, you potentially lose 100 million a year. Right? I don't know how much the prize money is now, but it's got to be over 100 million per club in the Premier League, and the TV money, and those deals are just getting more. So there's no way you're going to get a cheap deal from the Premier League. Again, if you look at the prize money and the Champions League prize money, it's going somewhere, isn't it? It's going into player salaries. It's going into transfer fees. There's no cheap deals. Do you remember the story about Tonali? If he wants to go to Italy, no one can afford him in Italy. If you sign for a Premier League club, you're trapped in the Premier League now. That's where the money is.
Also, with Irish Pitier, he said, Maguire was relegated and he was sold for huge money. But he didn't come forward to Man United straight away. Just to let you know, he went to Leicester City for a little bit less than 80 million, but then he had a really great season, and then he went for big money.
Yeah.
So just what I'm saying is a direct being relegated twice, and then being directly 80 million to.
They must have bought Gary Pallister from a championship team. Like Middlesbrough must have been a championship team.
Middlesbrough were in the Premier League when we bought Gary Pallister.
No, it was before the Premier League.
Well, the old Division 1 then.
I do think they were a Division 1 team. I think Middlesbrough were second division, weren't they?
Nah, I think you'll find that they were
I think we paid
they were in the Division 1.
I think we paid $2 million for. I think it was a world record for a centre back at the time.
It was correct.
It was huge.
That was big money though, wasn't it? From a not very great club, Oldham.
But the only thing is, the players were great, and it was the old divisions. We're talking Premier League now.
It's kind of hindsight, isn't it? My question about Fiji Wolf is if Matheus Fernandes cost 65 million, you'd say it's really expensive, but in 5 years' time, we might look back and go, "Wow, what a great deal we did." It's really difficult to say. At the moment, it's kind of guesswork, isn't it? A little bit. I think he's a good player, but obviously a
I
lot of work
just
to go.
I just think at the moment we need, with the way that we're going, we need, like, here and now players that can literally get us running, up and running, have got Champions League football or any
Yeah.
European football straight away. And with Mateus Fernandes, I just think he's going to be a massive risk. Yeah, he could be great in a few years' time, but at the moment,
Do you think Matheus Fernandes needs to start all the games though? Because I think if Man United had got someone like Elliot Anderson or Tonali or Ederson, then maybe Matheus Fernandes. There's going to be more midfield options than there was this season. So we're not going
it
to have the
will.
situation where the same people have to start every single match. I think you say it's a risk. I think it's
I think
maybe I
it's a
look at it differently. I
very
see
big
him as an
risk.
exciting prospect, but yeah,
I
different
just
way of
see
looking at
it.
it.
I just see him as a big risk, and the only thing is with the owner, with Jim Radcliffe coming out and saying, "Look, players have got 2 years to
Yeah,
basically to put their stamp on United."
I think it's fair though.
I just think, I just really think that he is gonna flop like a lead balloon.
Do you think with
And
this one though, like before we get Jarvis's take, do you think it's like with Man United, you go right? I think a lot of our players, this is kind of my guess based on what we've done the last 2 years. I think we're trying to get a lot of players that are either 25, 26 for experience. That's Mbeumo, Cunha, Edison. I don't think we're going to go much above that age. And then we're looking at players that are about 20, 21, or maybe like between 20 and 22 for the development. You've got Dorgu, you've got Aiden Heaven, who's younger, you've got Yoro, who's younger, Matheus Fernandes, we've got Mainu in the team that's younger. So we've got like a core player, maybe like 4 or 5 first team players potentially that are 21, 22, which is quite exciting. And then the rest of the players are going to be a little bit older, like 25. So I think Edison fits that profile. I think Fernandez does because but again, you're going to have Mainu in the same age, and then you're going to buy someone older. So if you get, for example, if you get Matheus Fernandez, you've already got Edison. You go for like a Tonali, or you go for an Angela Stiller, or you go for a Wharton or an Anderson, but you would go for someone that's a bit older.
Was that for me?
Yeah, I think that's what Man United are doing. I think they got
Yeah,
some younger players,
yeah.
but some mid-20s if possible.
That's definitely the plan. The Ineos came out early saying they intended only to sign players on their first and second professional contracts. So the resale value is still there, but I don't quite get it because we have never been a selling club. I think it's more about the wages. We shouldn't overpay wages because that's been the stumbling block when it comes to trying to sell players, because we can't get any value for them because they are on 250
So,
or
yeah.
300, and so I think the
Exactly.
most important thing in with all of this is I understand that we might have a wage ceiling right now, on 250 a week. So that's the highest we can go on a player, as far as I understand, and I think that's the most sensible. And don't overpay. I really like that Ederson comes in on a 70k a week. I think that's fantastic.
That's really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's positive. I was trying to say to G Wolf that maybe if you're looking at the difference between Fernandes and Tonali, I think the salary demand for those two players might be very different as well, which might be, I think that's what Ineos are looking at. If you get a player on and that's 21 years old, then he fits quite nicely into our wage structure. But then there's lots of room for him to, if he plays really, really well, lots of room for him to get a new deal in a few years' time. But also, if it doesn't work out, which I think it will work out, but worst case scenario is this player's not getting paid 300k a week like Rashford and Sancho. So this player's then you're able to sell him if you want to. I don't think Man United would ever plan to sell players like that. That's not something we historically want to do.
No.
So I don't think that's what we're trying to do. Because if we sold them, given the way things are going, we'd have to pay even more to replace them. So I think we're looking at this as a long-term deal.
By the way, I saw Jarle Malmin in the chat. Big up Jarle, and he mentioned that Sørloth, the Atletico Madrid striker, is on the move now, and apparently Juventus are going for him and Everton. So it's a price of 30 million euros for a good striker. Scored double digits at least for the 4 or maybe 5 last seasons in the the Spanish league for 3 different teams. So I think he's a type of guy who can come in and do a job for Man United. And I think, as Jarle said, we should be all over that deal. I don't know where you guys sit on Sørloth.
30 million, that's not bad. That's kind of like you were saying, Jarvis, is like, don't spend too much on a backup. How old is Sørloth out of interest?
I believe he's 29, but maybe I'm wrong. He's in his late 20s, maybe early.
I was going to say he's in his late 20s, possibly early 30s.
Let me check.
Yeah, it's worth. I think with this one, I was thinking like if you got a striker that is going to get the amount of chances that Bruno Fernandes creates, then if you're going to be getting someone that's at least clinical in front of goal, that we should be looking at definitely get some backup. My guess was that maybe Man United are looking for maybe a player that can play left and striker, or maybe they're considering that Dorgu could play on the right. So if they do move from Mbeumo across a bit more, then it would be something like that. I think there's a few possibilities in there. If Man United don't get the deal they want, maybe that, like Jarvis was saying, they got a bit of versatility in the squad. So again, it might be a bit. I think you're right, Jarvis, that whatever happens, we're not going to address every issue in one window, are we? We're going to have some sort of compromise where we don't have the amount of depth we want, but if we get the quality right, for me, that's fundamentally the most important thing. If you get the quality right, you're not looking at rebuying in a couple of years' time. So I think we did that last season. Like getting Lamens in has made me feel so much more confident watching the team. I think he was probably the best signing we've done for years, and it makes you wonder why don't we do a deal like that a year earlier? We had another year of Binder and Onana, and we could have avoided that one, I think.
But Rich, would you be willing to sacrifice the left back and the left winger, possibly the backup striker, just to get the quality in? Let's say we went full in on Tonali and Elliot Anderson, and then we have and that's it.
To be honest, because I look at Man United a bit more long-term view, I would say yes, because next season we go to, let's say, fast forward 12 months time, we're not having a conversation about midfield at all, are we? We go, well, we've got Tonali, we've got Anderson, we've got Kobe Mainu. Like, we're not even thinking about midfield. Maybe we've got some academy players that are close to stepping up. And I think, if you buy the right player, for me, that addresses the issue. Do you remember we got Roy Keane? And then for years, we're not talking about, how are we going to fix midfield? We got Roy Keane. It doesn't matter. And we got him there. And if you get the right player in, then it's going to be the right deal. I think I do get a bit concerned about left back. Like, we've got Luke Shaw. There's no way he's playing 50 plus games next season.
No.
So we'd have to look at, is there going to be chance of getting, I don't know if Amas is going to be close to being good enough, or
he will get his chance in the friendlies in the summer. He will be part of the squad.
Yeah, I think, as I say, they're on the cut. Like, those sort of players, Amas and all that, they're on the cusp of the first team.
If Man United went really big and got midfield sorted and got a good left back, I would probably go, forget backup striker. We'll work out something. It's a compromise, but I think if we got a good left back in midfield, that's still only 4 signings in total. I think that would be.
But Man United have already come out and said they want at least 5, and that's three midfielders, a left back, a centre back, plus a striker if they can do it.
Yeah, but the thing is, we can't force it. If we can't afford it, and it ends up with us being the club that's going for the cheap options. If you buy cheap, you buy twice. That's the saying. So again,
yeah, exactly.
That's my thinking about this. Maybe we should be more conservative. Maybe just play our chances and say, okay, we will focus on the league. We will try to compete in the Champions League. We might not win it anyway, so let's just do a decent run, and we have players who, as long as they stay injury free, I think our squad is good enough. That's the thing. But injuries, that's the biggest concern, especially when it comes to our centre backs.
Well, Delit ain't playing until mid next season anyway. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
we do have 5 centre backs though, and
We
also
do.
Mazraoui as the backup. So
Yeah.
6, even Luke Shaw, but he's cemented on the left hand side. And
But do you think that we need a left back? I think we do. I think we should go big in Lewis Hall. He
yeah, but
reminds me of a very young Luke Shaw back in the day.
but
Before
you
his
saw the
injury.
reports that came out on Lewis Hall, the report from Sully Talks 2 days ago. He said that Newcastle ain't willing to sell, and if they are going to sell, they're looking for a record-breaking transfer fee. So a world record transfer fee for a fullback, and maybe we are talking about 70 to 75 millions for Newcastle to sell him.
For
So
Lewis
again,
Hall.
I think it's almost impossible. It's madness. We can't pay that kind of money for a player like Hall.
How much do you think our budget is for this season?
Somewhere in between 200 to 250 plus sales. So we could go as far as 350 in total, but I think that will leave us broke at the end of the window, and I don't think that's the wisest move. We should save up a little bit in case a good deal comes along in January, and you never know when it comes to injuries, and you might need to strengthen.
I was
So
going to guess something like about 200 plus sales, and maybe that extra leeway gives you something to do in January, because then maybe in January we can reassess what we've done potentially. So if we get midfield done, and maybe we look at trying to get left back if possible. Maybe I think last January not doing deals was a bit disappointing, but maybe financially this next season we're like January could be like an opportunity, couldn't it? If we get some deals in and think, right, let's see how it goes, then we're going to have a lot of fixtures around Christmas time, aren't we? So we might have an idea of whether the squad is good enough. But again, I think I agree with Jarvis. It's about make sure you get the best possible quality if you're looking at that. Like we don't know how much we're going to get for sales. We've got Rasmus sold already. If you get Marcus Rashford gone and we get Xerxes Nagate gone, maybe there's a bit more leeway. But again, I think Lewis Hall price looks. I really like Lewis Hall as well, but the price is going up again, like 5 million a day. I look at him, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's madness. His price, his valuation, So, but there are. I see someone mentioned Truffert, for example. He's a good shout, and then we have been linked to Balde, the guy in Barcelona.
Yeah, no.
So we have been linked to several players, and the guy who plays in the Bundesliga, I can't remember his name, the English guy. We've been linked to him, haven't we?
Weissam from Borussia Dortmund. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, not Ryerson. I think he played for, was it Frankfurt or Stuttgart or something? Yeah, a guy with an English name. I think he's English, British. But again, Tonali, and what about Sangare? I think he would be a decent option.
What about Anderson? What about Anderson and Sagare instead of Tonali?
You don't like? Don't you like Tonali?
I do like Tonali. I'd take him over Mateus Fernandes 100%. The only thing, literally, I want Anderson. I really want Anderson coming. We got to get him in. Literally, we still owe City for literally let City do all the legwork, get the transfer fee and all that lot, and then we come in and hijack the deal and offer anything that Anderson wants. Give it to him because of it would pay us tenfold.
Yeah.
People in the chat this morning were saying, give him the number 7 shirt. He can be the next Brian Robson. And I don't know. It's a difficult one, isn't it? I think Man United, like, we need to make sure we're at the table. And City are also negotiating hard. It's going to be difficult. No one knows what Anderson wants. Jarvis, do you think people know exactly what Anderson wants, or do you think it's just guesswork at the moment?
I don't think it's guesswork. We have had a lot of Laurie Whitwell, at least, and some of the other big ones. Athletic has reported that City is leading the race. So I don't know what that means. if he prefers City over Man United, or if it's Nottingham Forest that prefers City over United. I don't have all the specifics, but again, I feel
It
I
seems
feel that it's
difficult.
City bound, from all the rumors that's out there. So again, I think it will be a hard, difficult deal to make. But yesterday, the reports that came out from was Steinberg and Jacob Steinberg, saying that Ratcliffe said he was willing to pay, match Manchester City's wages. So I think that's a good thing, if we are willing to fight for him at least.
Yeah, that's all you can do. If Man United try, it reminds me a bit of like the Roy Keane Blackburn situation where you got to just go for it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. At least you've tried.
Oh, yeah.
But we're gonna have to wrap up. I was gonna finish a bit earlier, but it's great to get you on, Jarvis. And I don't know if we've
Definitely
like
great to
convinced
get you
you
on,
Wolf that
bro.
Matheus Fernandes is a good player or not. I don't know. I'll try and find a highlight reel. Try and show you something. I did see something on Twitter about 2 hours ago where it's Matheus Fernandes from kickoff. He's just pressing, wins the ball back and scores a goal. And I was thinking, I need to find that clip and send it to G Wolf. Like he is a good player,
Crikey.
G Wolf. You just have
Not
to.
one, literally, as I said, players, they have moments. Doesn't mean that he's a brilliant player. He can have great moments in games, right? And that's what you're probably seeing. You're seeing the great moments, but as a whole,
Okay.
I don't think he's that great. I think we can go for literally, as I said, for 80 million.
I hope we sign him and we can have a debate. We can have a conversation at Christmas time about how it's gone if we do. Because it's always difficult. There's no point having a conversation now. We don't know. We don't know how it's
For
going to work
80
out.
million, I'm definitely walking away.
Yeah, but I think it cost 80. Well, big thanks.
I know you're wrapping up. A quick question, G Wolf. Who is your tier 2 midfield signing favorite?
Tier 2, so not Anderson, then it's got to be Tonali.
Okay, for me, Tonali is tier 1. He's in the 85 to 100 million bracket.
See, to me, Anderson is tier 1. We got to go for Anderson. We got to go all out for Anderson, tier 1. And then tier 2 is Tonali.
So you reckon it's realistic that we can go for both Tonali and Anderson?
We should
He
be
was
able to
going
go
big.
for, I think literally go big or go home. Simple as. I've always got that philosophy. Go big or go home. What's the point?
G Wolf, all I'll say is that if you're going to go big on Tonali and big on Anderson, you're going to have to get Man City's accountants on board if we're going to get Lewis Hall. To make the books balance. We're going to have to do those sort of deals.
If we've got round about the way that I see it, we got about 250 to 300 million to spend standard.
You're spending all on midfield though.
Right, hold on. 120 plus 100, so that's what 225. Still go and get a left back.
About 70. That's like 300.
70
maybe.
to 300, and then we got 50 million to go and get a to either go and get a striker.
Yeah.
And no money left. Well, hopefully G Wolf. Hopefully you're right about one of those deals. But before we go, big thanks to G Wolf for joining the stream. Massive thanks to everyone in the chat as well, and big thanks to Jarvis for jumping on as well and helping try and convince G Wolf. But we're not going to convince him. But for maybe resting my voice for a little bit and talking about Fernandes. Now, big up to people watching. There's going to be lots of crazy stories again, and follow Jarvis on Tactical Devils and follow myself, G Wolf, and people on United TV, because join us tomorrow when it's going to be £100 million for Alex Scott and £100 million for Matheus Fernandes, and we can argue about the transfers. I think Lewis Scott will be about 80 then, probably.
And then you're going to be dreaming that, literally.
The only positive I've got is that Anderson is looking like a better deal by the second, isn't he, at 35 million? At least we got that deal done because everyone else is too expensive now.
Exactly.
But thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate everyone in the chat. I'm just going to redirect to Toon Tactics, who's live tonight. I think everyone else I know is not streaming tonight. But big up to you guys in the chat. Thanks for sticking with us when we've kind of been arguing a bit about midfield players. And don't forget to click the like, leave a comment, subscribe if you're new, etc. as well.
By the way, Rich, there is a quick update from one of the journalists from the Midland newspapers coming out and saying that Manchester City are... it's Tom Columbus from Midland Football Reporter, Mail Sport. He follows Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest, and the Midland teams. And he's coming out tonight and saying that Elliot Anderson is said to prefer a move to Manchester City over Manchester United, although Man United haven't given up. So there's nothing new in his report, but it's on the topic that we mentioned.
No, don't listen to G Wolf. Don't listen to him.
I ain't listening. Don't worry. It's something that
you don't listen to me, so you won't listen to anyone else.
Exactly. Newspaper talk is something to.
Let's see though. No, we'll cover that if something breaks. But thanks everybody for watching.
It's something
thanks
that you can wipe something with. The newspaper.
Take it easy, guys. Have a great night, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow.
See you later.